Welcome to a new Old Grumblers episode. I'm Nerdish Fred, with me my co-hosts, COLONELDAMNEDERS, Monster Bound, and special guest today, Venris of SFO mod and Whisper the Eyeless fame. You might have heard of him. He once actually sank boats with his bare hands. It wasn't a big boat, but it was a big news there for a while in 1997. Came up from below, bit it, and eventually it sank. Everyone survived, but, controversial still. Shark Boy is what he was known for there for a while. And welcome.
Hello. that was a good introduction, especially in 1997. I survived the flood in Poland.
There you go. And
well, that's a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, I survived the flood.
Was it by going up into boats?
More like, rivers taking bridges, but yes.
Oh, yeah, there were my giant floods back then, right? I think a couple of Swedish cities were flooded as well.
That was actually the biggest flood in Polish history.
Yeah.
Was this 1997? What happened?
1997.
What happened in 1997? I genuinely can't remember.
Wait, I need to check here if it was then. Yeah, it was Central European flood, actually.
Central European history tangent at the start.
Okay, well,
tradition.
Nailed it, Fred.
Well, yeah, perfect. I did that one well. I could have seen that coming, right? Well.
Yes, went straight into the tenderest moment of Venus' life. So, yeah, that was a real dark time for me. It was traumatic as shit.
Well, this started off really well.
SFO. It's a mod.
So, yeah, let's talk about Grimhammer
for the first time.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say the story as well, because I really like SFO. I've been playing for a long time, and the first time I met you, Venris, was when you came in and I was playing an SFO Arcane campaign. I remember I was like, "Why have you made like this?" And you started straight away. It was like, "Hello, I'm the one who makes the mod." And it's being really nice and stuff. And I was like straight away, "Why are these skill points 3 points? Why are these?" And just. And we're like, you know what? That's actually valid criticism. And you just changed it the next day, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that's fantastic. It's crazy. That was.
I've been playing a lot of Grimhammer recently until the patch hit, of course.
Yeah, the patch will break it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can technically talk about the patch since this will go out after it, obviously. But
how do you feel about the patch? When they actually come out, are they a big nuisance for you, in general, or is it nice to keep working a little bit on SFO, or what's that like?
That really depends, especially if there are patches between them, DLC patches. Those are very problematic because we are working on one version of SFO and we are already adding the content, things like that. And those content that we are doing is always very rough. So, for example, there are no icons, there are no text usually, there are just code changes and so on. And if they release an update, like this, for example, we need to decide what we do with the new content. We need to disable it, remove it for the time, so there's also extra time. But every new content in the game is good thing. Sometimes the updates are so broken that everything we need to redo, but it's normal.
Yeah, it sounds like a Total War patch. Breaks everything. We fixed these 3 bugs and introduced 17 more. So,
I love the times when we didn't have the Rusty Pack file manager, so way better tool right now, made by Frodo. We had a more manual tool that didn't have the search button, was not able to, select many things. And with every update, they are changing the effects names. I don't know why. Sometimes there is a letter change. It's actually effects is -09, and then it's effect /09 change. Why? No one knows. And then in the past, 5-6 years ago, there were no search tool, you had to manually check every effect in the game. And there were hundreds of changes like that.
That makes my tummy hurt thinking about it.
Modding for the last 9 years when Total War Warhammer was introduced changed a lot because way more people came, way more people had ideas how to make better tools for modding and things like that. And in the older Total War games, it was way more stagnant because the same group of people was modding games for many, many years. Right now, we have new modders every week.
Yeah, it's like when Skyrim got really big with modding. Like it not only introduces all the new mods, all the people that make the tools to make the mods, it makes it easier for everyone. It's kind of an exponential thing that way, which is pretty cool. Like I've been.
I mean, there were always like a lot of mods for the Elder Scrolls series, though. Morrowind had also a bunch of mods. I remember like I started making mods a little bit in Morrowind as well, but it was just like, you know, I was 12 years old and I started making like super overpowered glass swords. I could just go and collect as soon as I started a new character and stuff.
So is there ever a patch for Warhammer where they add functionality that's useful for you? Or is it always just they just change the effect names and dick you over?
They are adding functionalities, but it's there's like a big misconception in terms of like how modding works with game itself. It's very rarely that CA does some system that is easy to mod in a way that is very helpful for the modders. For example, I remember Warhammer 2, Drunk Flamingo made a mod, the crafting for the dwarves, right after the crafting for the Tomb Kings, what introduced. It was extremely advanced mod how to do it, how to make the crafting for the different faction. And they were doing it for like 6 months or something like that, a very long time. And then Creative Assembly make a template right after it. And this is like the only mechanic really that uses a template to this day that is only table-wise. Because like there are 3 types of moddings in Total War. There's like table-wise, there are scripts, and there are UI that was introduced in Warhammer 3. And if something is only based on table, then it's easiest and the best to do because it's the lowest possibility it will just die when the update comes or crash or things like that. Scripts are extremely dangerous to do in the modding because they can conflict, they can break the game, they can break everything else. Exactly. And with the UI, there are problems with the UI. Some of them are great, some of them not. For example, we have the Horde system upgrades with Warriors of Chaos rework that was introduced. And this is a cool thing because other mods do it. For the Bretonia, for example, that from the peasant you can do to the knight. But the problem is that one UI change overrides all the rest. So if you want to have a UI mod, you can have only one of them. You cannot have more of them. When with the tables and script, none of them is possible. Is problematic. Example: last updates for base game made that all the upgrades, the scrap upgrades, broke. So
I remember that actually, yeah.
And there is a template mod that allows to make it working for other factions, but it's a temporary solution still. Yes, the thing that was working for since Warhammer 2, they added the scrap mechanic. The scrap mechanic was adjustable UI, so it can go scroll up, scroll down. No one knows why. In Warhammer 3, it totally broke. And for the last 3 years, it was broken. Now they change it that there are big images without scrolling, but they broke it again.
Well, they needed a little side scroll bar. They need to make it longer. It's just interesting because I was reading some patch notes for, I think it was Stellaris the other day, and there was like a little section at the bottom going, oh, we've made this easier to mod and this easier to mod. And it feels like with Warhammer 3, it's always like there's nothing for the mod. It's almost like we've changed the word effects in every table to efforks, but completely randomly. Enjoy, motherfuckers. That's going to be fun for you to try and fix.
That's not entirely true. There are small things that they are adding to modding Warhammer. They actually started to add stuff to Warhammer 3 modding. Like actually, Warhammer 1 especially had nothing. Warhammer 1 had absolutely nothing. Warhammer 2 actually modding was way more restrictive because many mods had to be consulted.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because you had to like ask them all the time, like, "Hey, do you think Games Workshop would approve this?"
Yes. And I had several of my changes in SFO had to be approved by CA and Games Workshop.
Bro, Games Workshop, get over yourself. It's a mod.
No, you can't have Space Marines in Warhammer. It doesn't make sense.
No,
it's also workshop rules, right? Like you're not allowed to have stuff that's like when it's the IP involved, you have to be really, really careful with this, especially with like if you have other IPs. It's like with people thought that CA were really restricted with Three Kingdoms modding because you weren't allowed to have the Dynasty Warrior portraits, stuff like that. But that's just IP infringement. So they just couldn't have it on the workshop. They're not shutting it down on Nexus or anything like this.
Yes, but in Warhammer it's even more funny because Old World is a different IP.
Yeah, and End Times as well, weirdly enough.
Yes. It's Warhammer Fantasy, Old World, and End Times. 3 different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way GW sorts their IP is they basically parcel it up. So you could do like a game on Warhammer, but that is its own IP, and therefore you cannot have anything outside of that IP. Although I get the feeling quite a few of the units in Warhammer 3 are now sort of End Times adjacent, and I don't know how that works.
I asked them about this, and it's if they existed because of the End Times, you can't have them in the game. But if they existed prior to the End Times, even though they were retconned in the End Times that they always exist, like Silvering Guards and stuff like that, then that's fine. Then you can use
we
this.
also have null iron sights.
Sorry?
Null iron sights with repeater rifles that were removed.
Yeah. Those were removed. Yeah. Well, they were like just changed, weren't they?
No, they were in. That's funny because they were in the tables. Both variants for the Amethyst and normal. They had repeaters. There were animation for Outriders with repeaters even.
Yeah, that's
all
right.
All of it was removed. Like CA put it so modders can just re-enable them. They had everything. They had sets for the effects. They had their own unit cards. Everything was done. You just need to enable it in one table to be in the game.
And then it was removed. And like without Games Workshop being like, well, actually, no. Like, did they not run into it before then? That is insane. What a waste of time.
That's really weird, isn't it? I mean, I can't. It must have been a GW thing because I can't imagine. Because CA love putting how many units have been added in a DLC, even if it's just, you know, this guy's got a sword, this guy's got an axe. They're now 2 completely different units.
Yeah,
I mean,
biggest DLCs, biggest DLC CA ever released were first Mandate of Heaven, which had like 40 new units, and then it was Champs of Chaos, which had like 45 new units. But it's just variations of stuff anyway. But it's still like more units. But technically, also biggest DLCs.
Which I guess is fine.
Yes, that's fine. It's going to be really interesting to see how they're going to solve like End Times, because everybody wants Nagash from End Times. Nobody wants like Nagash from, you know, anywhere else in his history at all.
Absolutely wrong. Give me
nobody else except for monsters want this.
I don't want the floating bone god. Screw that. I want the big, giant, goofy-looking skeleton. I want him to like walk like this when he's running. He's going to be like really just.
So how old do you want it to be? Do you want it to be like Age of Legends kind of Nagash from the books, which is just like a 8-foot tall glow-in-the-dark skeleton?
Yes,
like
that's what I want.
Okay, well, he's kind of cool though.
You need to eat Skaven so you grow and become the actual Nagash. For the whole campaign.
Just keep slurping that sweet warp stone juice on the river straight away.
It's weird, isn't it? Because the DLCs, they're kind of getting down to the scraping the bottom of the barrel characters. Like the last DLC was Skulltaker, who I don't think anyone knew about. And I can't even remember the other two.
Gorbad and Goldie the Man-Eater.
Yeah, all very boring. What you want is the Nagashes, the Thanquols. Those are the guys you want. Those are the big, names.
Yeah, Neferasa.
But you are not afraid that the hype is too big for them right now?
I think
I'm afraid that those DLC will be underperforming in terms of like people are expecting something entirely new, and they will be just new legendary lords with mechanics. I don't think they will be like a whole mechanic for Nagash taking the world.
Okay, hear me out. Total War Warhammer 4, The End Times. Kaboom.
Yeah.
This is controversial, but I think this game really deserves to get rest.
Yeah, that is controversial.
Sorry, but I think the best thing that can happen to the game is its update cycle to end. Sometimes.
Are you saying that from like you want to move on to other things, or is it because of depression?
The depression. No, I think the Warhammer 3 is growing with exponentially with every DLC, reworks, the patch that we'll be talking about right now, that it's causing more problems than something good right now. The depression between some factions and the other factions it's insanely. Like playing High Elves right now, the vanilla High Elves without any mod, it's atrociously bad. To playing Warriors of Chaos or other example, Lizardmen. I love Lizardmen as a faction, but they're unplayable. Any of their DLCs were bad. The Sotek one was fine, the Prophet, but all the rest
nice.
were just bad.
I mean,
mechanically based as a faction, they're just terrible.
Yeah, they need a huge rework.
I love the way how you use Lizardmen and High Elves as an example and completely glossed over Norskins because they're so bad that no one can actually look at them right now.
I think Norska is better than those factions.
Whoa.
Yeah, but you play with your mod though, right?
Oh, okay, we're talking vanilla.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going.
I always say that to some people because I'm like, yeah, so you have like the Cathayan lords, right? Like Miao Ying is better than Zhao. He just has like a better like the 50% more ammunition is to all range dudes. It's like crazy good for AR for like long fights, everything like that. Zhao doesn't really have that. She has to like keep up with the bash and stuff like that. It's fine though, but she is like better, arguably.
You've got
then you have like
Miao Ying is the Lady Dragon and Zhao Ming is the
Miao Miao and Zhao is the alchemist. And then like those two get blown out of the water by Huan Bo, like just straight up, like he's just better in everything. Hands down.
To the buildings, to the commandments, to the units, the effects, everything is better.
Yeah, and those things exist in the same game as goddamn Norska, Norska and Vampire Coast. And it was actually when we were talking about, because we sometimes play together as well on stream. We played the Dark Tide latest here, Venris, and you said something so interesting about Vampire Coast, because personally, I hate Vampire Coast. I think they are an abysmal faction that needs to... Well, prior to us talking, I didn't think they... I thought they just need a rework. You changed my mind on this actually a little bit, because you actually have some really good opinions about...
I think that Vampire Coast is the best faction that was made for this game. First of all, table-wise, it's very clean, actually good team done. Everything is working there. Everything is clean. And it's a simple faction that people may not like. I personally don't like pirate theme, but all of their mechanics are unique in compared to the other faction. The tech tree was unique at the time to the other faction, how it was working. How they get Regiment of Renown was different. The treasure events on the sea was different, yes? They had their own resource as one of the first factions that had their own actually working own resource, not like the blood cases that are just there. Yes, things like that. They may not be the best faction, but as a base, they are very good. And they still, to this day, I think they had the best Vortex campaign, like the small campaign, with how it was working. Because not only all their system was working, but all of their systems was taken from the base game. So using rogue armies, using search ruins, using the fact that they are big seas and so on. So you may not like Vampire Coast, but as a faction, they are the best made that ever created, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very interesting because since you modded, you just like put their numbers in a better spot, because right now in base game, they are fairly atrocious. Like they have almost no post-battle loots, even though they are pirates. They need like tech for this or skills, and then they get like more post-battle loots. And it's just like a bunch of like really weird shit. Like, have this hero cost $350 a turn. He's gonna go over there for 20 turns. You get 7,000 for that. And it's like, all right, that's
one also thing that I forgot. This was the first faction with working horde in Total War Warhammer.
Yeah, true.
I do think that's one of the things I do love about Grimhammer is, and one of the things that's weird about Warhammer 3 in general, but I think both 1 and 2 had this problem as well, is that CA seem to be very scared about making numbers fun. Like you look at like the general traits, and you could pick any vanilla general, and it's effectively meaningless. Their traits are worthless. Like you just don't have to. I mean, yes, this guy maybe moves 2% faster, and maybe this guy's got some more melee attack. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? No, of course not. It doesn't. It makes no difference. And yet in Grimhammer, you've actually gone, okay, these guys are going to actually be different. And it's not like the numbers are game changing, but it just kind of makes more sense. And it's the same with the Vampire Coast in that, yeah, you send this guy to go over to this treasure post, and he gets like $3,000. But if he costs 500 a turn, and you've had to travel him for 10 turns, it's like, yeah, technically that's a net, it's a net loss. So why would I do that?
That's why in SFO every treasure is duplicated by 10. Actually, the values for treasures of Vampire Coast. It's the best source of income if you play it.
Yeah, I mean that does make a lot of sense, because you can also like just if you take lore plausible, you can just dive down there with your little corpse and stuff.
I think it's weird in they do this in most places. In most places they go, oh no, we don't want big numbers. No. And yet in some places it's absolutely ludicrously insane. And one of the reasons that Goldfag is so easy a campaign is the fact that when you sell a settlement, the AI so wildly overvalues them that they just pile money into you to the point where you're like, well, I'm literally richer than everyone else in the world, and I don't know what to do with this money now.
That was the weirdest nerf they did with that one, because I was also like talking in the Discord with them, and it's like, yeah, you get like way too much money for doing these things. And then like other people started like took over the conversation. I wasn't really paying attention. But you get like 10,000 or something like that to take a contract, and then you would get like 60 or 70 or 100,000 for selling the settlements. And then they nerfed like the 10,000 some. And I was like, what happened there? How did that work? Like, why is that?
I feel like the settlement thing has been a real issue for a while, and I don't know why they either haven't noticed it or don't care.
I think the gold overall is a very big issue in Total War Warhammer, all three games. Like as a resource, it's too many things that can affect gold. How much you gain it. If you remember how was the post-battle loot in Warhammer 3 Vanilla. As Khorne, you could get 40, 50,000 from one battle, post-battle loot, because it was getting to such crazy numbers. As Scarbrand.
I think it's, I guess the problem with having one resource that does basically everything, like the factions that have other resources that rely on, like I was playing a bit of Nurgle recently, and having infections, having to rely on those for plagues and your military recruitment, and then gold is just everything else. It does, I mean, it's not perfect, but it changes your priorities a bit and makes it so that you're not just staring at your gold all the time thinking, oh, well, do I have enough to do everything I need to do?
That's why the Chaos Dwarfs are working so well.
Yeah, definitely.
They are, of course, they get to the point that they have abundance of everything, but like the first 50, 100 turns when you need to manage the resources is very good with them.
Yeah, I love the Chaos Dwarf, and I know that Pharaoh and Troy are controversial topics, but I really do like the fact that you have the 5 resources there. And that makes, in my opinion, a lot of sense, because the building of your settlements is sort of separated from your army recruitment for the most part, which means that you don't have to worry about, like, if I recruit too much, I won't be able to upgrade anything. And having to sort of, just having those two things separate just makes the game so much more interesting.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that, in my opinion, the Total War Warhammer series is meant to be a lot more easy for newcomers to just hop on and play. Like, it's how I got into Total War, because I tried Rome and I was like, what's this food crap? I don't understand this. And then I played Total War and it was just all gold, and it's completely so easy in comparison.
Yeah, I think overall Total War Warhammer is a very easy RTS game.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was just saying that I played RTSs my whole life. Settlers, StarCraft, Warcraft, things like that. And Total War is the easiest game I ever played in terms of RTSs overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think also, like when we're going back to the Chaos Dwarfs there, and that's a good campaign. I actually think that's but one thing that actually makes them more balanced as well, even though they get an abundance of resource, is the army caps. And that's something you've had in your mod for a long time.
Yeah, yes. We introduced caps in Warhammer 2 right after the Tomb Kings were released. This is a thing that actually CA helped us with, because the capacity for other factions and not for the Tomb Kings was taking garrisons into account. And that was a big problem. Yes,
Okay.
that's still the thing in Ogre Kingdoms. The units in the hordes are counting to the capacity of units. I'm still asking to CA to change that. But we introduced that, and then with Drunk Flamingo, we made the tabletop caps.
That's a really
mod. So the army caps. That mod were a lot of time. Right now, Vendy took over it because Drunk is not modding anymore. But we were like working for it like 6 months at least. I remember with Drunk, and then we introduced it first to SFO, then made a standalone of it, and then released for the vanilla. And the mod is still there. The army caps mod everywhere.
Yeah, I had a little go of that a while ago, and it's such a small change for 6 months of work, which is like just devastating that it has to take that long because CA's modern tools are so crap. But
yeah, but two people made it, you know.
Yeah, I'm not downplaying it at all. It has like such a massive impact for something that seems so minor as just adding capacities. And I think a lot of this does come down to the fact that we play the game way too much. If you just hop in on Total War, like each update you play one campaign, you're not going to care if you have unit capacities to like make it more challenging and force you to have army variety. You're just going to play once and be like, okay, that was fine. Time to play Fortnite until the next DLC.
Yeah. We also abuse so many systems while playing it for the long time.
Yeah.
Because we know how to do it, but most people don't.
I always compare it to the dude in Westworld. I don't know if anyone here has seen Westworld season 1. There's this old Westworld is this Western theme park with a bunch of like robots that are lifelike. And there's this one old dude that's been coming there for like 40 years, basically knows everything. And nobody else can really tell the difference between like one of these robots and a real human being. It's like wild to them. But he just goes into like some bar room, shoots one dude, says like exactly the right thing for the next person, so they kind of almost glitch.
Men in Black.
Almost. And then he says this wonderful thing, like, if you just stare at the wall long enough, you start noticing the cracks. And it's just like that with most Total War content creators or anyone who like plays it too much as well. You just gotta notice those things.
Yeah, people like to because I always check your reviews of the DLCs with regards to doing, and then I look on the comments, and there's a big difference between people that are playing Total War and are just starting to play it. Like they complain that you complain about some things that they don't notice. Or things like we say that the DLCs are overpriced because we know that there were way more value in Warhammer 2 DLCs, let's say, or the last DLC was not bad, but doesn't have the Warriors of the Chaos Waste campaign at all, the narrative one. And no one noticed it, that they just cut the content and the price is still higher.
Yeah. I mean, also, I think the most important bit is you guys were talking about that earlier as well, you and Monster, I think, before we started recording this. The most important bit isn't what they're going to add, it's what they're going to change as well. Because there for a while with Chaos Dwarves and Shadow Change were the two ones that, Chaos Dwarves people were kind of getting a little bit angry about, and then Shadow Change just pushed it over a hill, pushed it over the cliff. And that was just because there were no reworks, there were no changes to stuff, nothing like that. You always had like big reworks, more content, stuff like that. And then they started like just pushing so much more content to it instead. So now, for example, we're getting like the free patch with stuff that should have been for Shadow Change as well, so they can actually retroactively fix this.
I have to assume that Total War's doing okay if they have time to do this and there's just no DLC announcement. But I mean, knowing them, it could just be like, we'll see.
I do find it weird how when Warhammer 3 came out, they were very, very slow to patch stuff. And I remember the first patch took, I want to say, 3 months after release. Well, there was a quick hotfix there was a hardware issue. And then it was about and I want to say it was about 3 months afterwards when they kind of like made some of the numbers bigger on the tech and various different things because people have been complaining about like all the texts were worthless because everything was like, increases replenishment by 3% for 7 turns research and stuff like that. And they kind of like spent 3 months then upping all the numbers. And you kind of went, why is that taken? I mean, surely that should have been at most a month.
Yeah. I mean, Slanesh, I think, was a really prime example of that one because they didn't have any replenishments. So they were like, okay, we're gonna fix the replenishments. And then after 6 months, they had like 1 tech for like 3% or something, and then like a skill points. It's like 6 months for that.
Yep.
You remember the traits in the Warhammer?
Yeah, some of them. Yeah,
they were like plus 2 melee attack, things like that.
Yeah.
When the content creators first got the game, that was one of the first things I said was, why are these so bad? Like, why are these like these army general traits just absolutely worthless?
I don't think they know how to make traits because like anything like that, they just leadership aura. We have like a big thing against leadership aura on this
Everyone
podcast.
loves leadership
It's so
aura.
pointless, but it's everywhere.
Everyone uses it.
It's one of like Godbad's 3 army effects. Sorry, go on.
Wanted to talk about on the release that you said that the first patch was 3-4 months, something like that. So Warhammer 3 on the release in like table wise were better state than Warhammer 2, because Warhammer 2 was very rushed game in terms of the tables. But like every update really went through everything. They were fixing everything in Warhammer 2, and it was Warhammer 2 state was way more terrible, but in 6 months it became wonderful game, very fast. Yes, in Warhammer 3 you are getting to the state after 3 years, which is interesting also because in the tables of Warhammer 3 was not built like Warhammer 2, because Warhammer 2 was built on top of Warhammer 1, so every system from Warhammer 2 was based on Warhammer 1 system, and Warhammer 3 was fully redone as a separate game, in my opinion at least. That's how the tables are looking, and then everything Warhammer 2 was just added to it. For example, the building system for Warhammer 2 factions and 1 were using a different table logic than Warhammer 3 ones for a very long time. Immortal Empires fixed that only. They changed all of that. But before, if you're fighting against Empire, this faction was working on different logic. Even the units qualities, there's like a table for unit qualities for AI to know what to recruit, was entirely different for Warhammer 2 and Warhammer 2 factions. Like, looks like they didn't have time, or they made Warhammer 3 as a standalone first and then started the content from 2.
That would make sense why Immortal Empires took so long compared to Warhammer 2.
Yeah. I mean, I always just assumed that all the traits and stuff like that were shit because they wanted to like draw down the power level or everything like that, because power creep had been like a thing for a while. Like they just made everything more and more stronger. So now they wanted to make like everything as fun as Norska. Well, not as fun as, but as strong.
Warhammer 2 on the release had Mortal Empires, but it modders enable it and then struck by CA hour after immediately.
Because it only took like a month for Mortal Empires to come out for Warhammer 2.
Yes, it was from day one in the tables.
That's crazy.
I mean, like they probably would have had to have us somewhere around there where it just like they didn't make it from scratch in a month, I guess.
I mean, it is impressive they've taken these 3 games and like stitched them together. I don't think I can't think of any other franchise that's managed to do something like that. You haven't got 3 releases and then gone, okay, now let's just squeeze them together and see what happens. But it is weird that they didn't. It's almost like they weren't thinking about that for Warhammer 3 until afterwards, when they almost like went, oh yeah, no, we should do that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I think if you have the data where like, I don't know what the exact date is, but like most people played Mortal Empires compared to Vortex, and Realms of Chaos is not a repeatable campaign, especially on release. Like you play one faction, you've played them all, it's the same shit, different portal. So I don't understand how they didn't think that they needed a Mortal Empires already. I mean, it just comes down to the fact that Warhammer 3 came out too early, like simple as.
Yeah, I always think that it was something like they just had like way larger team for Warhammer 2, and those dudes kind of stayed on for a little bit to like fix stuff up. And now it's just a skeleton crew, because I remember like a week or two after Warhammer 3 got released, the main team was like, yeah, we're gonna go work on a different game now. So long, buddies, basically. And then like DLC team is just standing there like with a broken jigsaw puzzle. It's like, what piece is this?
It's really visible because like we're getting DLC how often? Like 8 months right now?
Yeah.
Something like that. When Warhammer 2 had like 6 months, I think it was max. Normally it was like around 4 or something.
It was 2 or 3 DLCs a year, really.
It became longer and longer as the cycle continued. So it became like the last one was like one that year, and then was 2 before that and 3 before that and stuff like that. But Warhammer 1 had like 18 big updates and content drops in like 18 months or 17 months or something.
Should we talk about the mod, by the way, at some point? We're just kind of like ranting about Total War all over the place.
I mean, it's all relevant, right?
And this is a nightmare. I did my homework for this. We need to talk about the mod.
Yeah, okay, I've got one question. Venra, are the Chaos Dwarves in Grimhammer?
Mm-hmm.
Have you actually done anything to them, or are they sort of
very small changes? Very small changes. Like there are differences in terms of the garrisons, for example, between the fabric and the second types of the minor settlements. Some buildings got tweaks, but I always have a rule that if something is good, just don't change it. We just bump up of the numbers. I like the Chaos Dwarves a lot as a faction. I don't think they need more units or lords or characters. There's just a good faction. Only thing that I would like to see in the future maybe is to differentiate the legendary lords a bit more. Between them. We added some effects there, but maybe something with that you can use the Hashroot influence. I don't remember the name that you use in the tower.
the Conclave influence?
Yeah, so this resource loses a use when you have the whole tower. So I was thinking about a small mechanic that will have a different use for every legendary lord when you fill it. Yeah, but besides that, people are asking for the content for Chaos Dwarfs a lot in Grimhammer. I'm saying like, I don't want to change something that just works and it's good. As a faction.
I only asked because I did play a Drazhoth campaign in Grimhammer, and I did his quest battle, which I can't remember which one it is, but it's against the undead. And I went in basically being like, okay, time to wreck this quest battle. And I got bodied. I got absolutely wrecked by I came out of it going, what the hell just happened?
The quest battles are harder in Grimhammer because we also made rewards for them. When you finish them, like faction-wide, you get like 50% replenishment. All public order goes to 100. It's like a whole nation is happy that you made it. We wanted to make it rewarding because like the battles in Warhammer 1, was atrociously bad. You had this like 20 steps chain to get to the mission that gives you Galmaras that increases the strength by 10%. It was atrociously bad. Then they changed it a bit in Warhammer 2, but only for the new factions. The old factions still use this 20 steps thing. Also, I remember we were modding that we just cut all the lines from Warhammer 2. And in Warhammer 3, they gladly changed it. It's like 1-2 steps for all the factions finally.
It is weird, isn't it? How they I don't think CA kind of understand that you need to give people a reward if you want them to go and do something. Like if you want, if you want a 20-step quest chain, that's absolutely fine. Knock yourself out. But unless you make it worth it, people aren't going to bother and they're going to complain about having to do it.
Or unless it's actually
I think
fun.
that's the biggest problem with vanilla for me is a game is that it has many great mechanics, but they are very unrewarding.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about that a lot, where that they kind of go like 70 or 80% of the way that they need to go. Then they just stop like the very last bits, like the changeling mechanics, really good objectives, really cool stuff to do. But then when the reward is there, like, yeah, the pyramid is there and 2 armies don't do anything. That's cool.
Yeah, I just when I played the Changeling campaign, every single grand scheme I did was completely fucking useless. Every single one of them was just worthless, didn't do anything.
But going back to the quest battles, I noticed first time that the quest battles were much harder when I was playing Gelt. Gelt had in Warhammer 1 and 2 one of the hardest quest battles in the game because he had to fight like a bunch of Chosen and like Chaos Warriors and Giants and stuff like that. And in SFO, you have more lore appropriate power levels and stuff. So Chosen are fantastically strong And then I just went in there and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna win this one, no problem. And then it just keeps on going, and like these chosen just keep murdering my stuff, and it's like, dang, you just get absolutely smashed in it.
Yeah, I did
That was
come out of
pretty
that quest battle basically going, what just happened?
You know, we talked that the Total War is an easy game, but we wanted to like the quest battles to be this like pinnacle. Let's have something cool in the game, because you cannot balance difficulty in Total War really. Overall, it's not possible to balance difficulty in this game. There's too many factors for the players, too many things that you can abuse, and even cool mechanics that you can do, like with Skull Taker. It's nothing bad with the Skull Taker being OP, but let's keep those quest battles hard, like actually hard.
Yeah, different. People complain about how factions like the Changeling are too easy. And it's always like, yeah, but the game's too. I mean, the game's just easy. It's not a hard game. The difficulty in Total War, I think, boils down to defending all your settlements from the numerous armies that are going to try and sack them and then run away. That's literally what the difficulty is.
Speaking of difficult as well, you also added in Heracles AI for the campaign, right?
And then remove it.
Oh, you removed it as well? Ah, shit.
Yes. Yes. People were complaining about that a lot because they wanted to use different AI mods. And
right.
yeah, over time, many AI mods appeared, and we wanted to make SFO as compatible as possible in that regard.
All right, that's fair enough. Is SFO is compatible with any AI mod like that for campaign as well?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, cool. How does it work actually when you want to add in a mod like that, for example?
So generally, there's also a misconception like that mods can change AI of a campaign and things like that, which in most cases it's a formal effect. They cannot. There are some values changes because like AI works in Total War on a way that we can edit it as a modders. Is that there are tables that show the many situations that AI can be in, and you can just increase the priorities of it. So for example, if you are attacked, you can increase the priority for AI to withdraw and get back to defend this settlement, things like that. But as I said, you can make hundreds of changes, and in my opinion, it's a formal effect. Until CA makes actual changes to the campaign AI, no mod can make a substantial difference.
So if you want to add something like someone else's work, like Heracles, for example, how would that go? Would you just like, hey, is it okay if I just bake this into the mod, or like how do you go?
Just use it together with SFO and it will work.
All right. Well, I was thinking more like when you actually add this and bake it into SFO, because it was in. SFO
if we do that, we always ask for the permission, and then the mod goes to the credits. And we also ask if we can, tinker the mod to SFO standards or some other stuff. But crediting other creators is the most important thing. You cannot take just someone's stuff and do it. There was a lot of drama about that in Warhammer 2 because some modders, that I won't tell names, were taking other modders' stuff, not only in Total War Warhammer, and that was the most reason that modders don't have early access to the DLCs these days.
Oh yeah. Oh right. That's why. Yes. Yeah. I used to be really into Skyrim modding, and there was always modder drama about stuff like that. Always, especially with like mod packs and stuff like that. Like, oh, you have to ask every 1,000 people in this mod pack and stuff like that, and they would be like, no.
Yeah, but usually the modding community is very friendly in Total War. That's not a problem. In Warhammer 2, it was just a big misconception because many people came. The audience increased a lot since Warhammer 1, and not everyone knew how it's working. Yes, that you cannot take people's work, that you cannot do some mods. Yeah, how to do compatibility mods. It was like. The tools were changing. Frodo made Rusty Pack File Manager, so different tools were used. So Warhammer 2 was a very interesting time to mod the game.
It's hilarious to me that you say, some people came, didn't know the rules, they just stole things. It's like, hang on a minute, you should probably know that.
Yeah, that was the thing. I had reports writing to Creative Assembly like almost every week for some time, because someone just took parts of SFO, or they were just re-uploading the mods and so on third-party sites. Because back in Warhammer 2, it was not allowed to have your mods outside of Steam. Right now you can have it. You can have it on Epic, you can have it on Nexus mods, on ModDB, it's fine. But in Warhammer 2, it was not allowed. So it was, as I said, it was crazy. It was Wild Wild West.
Cool. I mean, I've only gone to like the Nexus mods once now. It's like, yeah, I can't stream any of this.
Yeah, Nexus mods for Warhammer 3 is just like the most not safe for work thing it's crazy.
Yes, yes. Not suitable for work, let's say.
I have another SFO question as well. Where's Kabanda, Benris?
Kabanda was Bloodthister, a legendary hero that we made for Warhammer 2, and it was actually one of the first custom models made for Total War Warhammer. Like actually fully custom model. And it was based on Malagor. I remember the animation, but actually had a custom look, weapons and things like that. It was even before the times that Chaos Robbie came to modding and started his crazy mods. And yes, I was very proud of this mod. Like really proud of it.
Yeah, I should also probably expand on that. In Warhammer 2, you did a really, really good job making the Wars of Chaos much better. They are basically in line with what they are now. Like definitely you could say like Creative Assembly is like took a lot of your ideas. Like that would not
we
be
did.
far
We
off.
added the settlement buildings to the Horde in Warhammer 2 for the Wars of Chaos, like earlier.
Yeah, the Dark Fortress and stuff like that, and like the.
It was exactly the same idea that we had. You are saying with it now.
Yeah. So, for example, if you took Middenheim, you could summon a legendary hero, which was Kabanda, and didn't have Bloodthirst back then. It was just really cool. It took a long time to summon it. Like I would actually argue like even too long because it's like made it a little bit less fun.
Yeah, but it was like a win button. It was a win button. Like
he was really, really cool. Yeah, he was really, really strong. Not immortal, but still like very, very strong. Because that's also something I like about SFO. Whenever people ask about like balance and legendary lore stuff like that, I always say that they're deadlier but squishier. Because most of the time you can murder most of the heroes much easier than you can in vanilla, but they will wreck stuff if they're just if you don't counter them or you don't try to do anything about them. Like they will just murder stuff.
Yes, they have way less health because like SFO overall has more health in terms of vanilla, but like numerous units have around 50% more health than vanilla one, but the heroes and lords only 25% more.
Yeah.
So the difference is bigger.
Yeah. They also have more leadership, right? Or is that just like they just get more leadership because they have more health?
Yes, they have leadership, but also leadership in SFO is based on health. Yeah. When in vanilla, leadership is mostly based on if it's a rear charge, terror abilities, things like that. And causes, in my opinion, that I don't like is that unit has like 10% health and still full leadership and is still fighting. When in SFO, it's gradually going down depending on how much health the unit have. Yeah, so actually, units that have 10-20% health will rout.
I never thought about that. Yeah, it does seem like in base game, units will just be like, I'm completely fine, and then take one tick damage and be like, oh my god, what's going on? I need to get out of here. It just goes so fast.
Yes.
Or just have like one dude just run back, like one out of 120 is running back to the battlefield, like, I'll avenge them all. But we probably should have started with saying that Grimhammer is balanced in the way that you get much longer battles that do become more tactical because they are longer. So everything is, from base game, it would be, everything is like fighting dwarves, and dwarves are goddamn solid, but there's way less of them, so you can actually surround them and use tactics against them otherwise, which is really cool. Like it's better, I think, because the game does get, well, the battles get longer and better. They are very arcadey in Warhammer, because late game you're gonna have battles that are 3 minutes long and stuff like that, and that's just
3 minutes. It's like 3 minutes with walking. To the enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
The longer battles is definitely a good thing because, like, just pure from a psychological point of view, you spend as much time in the loading screen as you do in most vanilla battles. Like, you just 30 seconds to a minute loading screen. I mean, the battle's over. The same again. It makes me just want to avoid battles completely. But I was playing as Carl, And it was just like, it wasn't even like that big a battle. It was just against another empire to finish off his little starting province. And I was like, well, this is a natural battle. Like I'm having to think about things. I'm not just pressing Control A and sending everything in and, going to get myself a sandwich. It's crazy. Having to actually use tactics. Oh my God.
Yeah. I heard somewhere that in the older Total War games, I didn't play them that much, that most people played on a slow pace of battles, not the normal one, slower ones. I don't know if it's true, but that's how I played Vanilla when I played first Warhammer 1. And it was like, the battles were way too fast for me. As I said, I played StarCraft, Warcraft. I was good, having a good APM in my ages, but like 2 minutes battles are way too fast in Total War.
I think
it says it's good, but I actually played Protoss, just FYI.
Yes, I played Protoss and I was in Diamond for several times in StarCraft 2. My APM record is 211, so I still have a screenshot of it somewhere.
Oh, that's such a great game of cred.
I was a Diamond Zerg and I hated all the Protoss all the time. They're like, Death Ball! Bleh.
Do you think... Sorry, Monsters, I'll let you finish your StarCraft.
So I was a gold Zerg, but only momentarily, because I played my three starter like games to get you like set in the rankings. I lost all 3 of them, and it went, all right, gold, and you go.
It was like a reconciliation reward for you. They wanted to make you happy.
It scared the shit out of me. I was like, I got bodied every time, and then they're like, in gold. I'm like, no, I need to be. Is there one lower than bronze? Because if so, that's where I need to be.
I once did a Rocket League duos placements with my friend, and we finished our ranked placements and didn't get a rank. It was just like, just go again. You were that bad. You have no rank.
We don't have a place for you here.
The ratings, they don't go this low, please.
By the way, as we are talking about the competitive, do you think that the Total War Warhammer competitive scene died?
Was there? Yes,
there was a lot of
no.
tournament in 1 and 2. Like
yes and no. There are still tournaments. I know Turin does like tournaments fairly often. There's also like a bunch of smaller tournament stuff like this. The problem is that the Ever Chosen tournament is gone because there was one dude at Creative Assembly that was always just pushing for it. He was an old pro as well, who is an old Battlefield pro, I think, actually. And he would just always like push for these things, and he would organize and get everyone there and get prize money and stuff like that, and like a budget for it and things like this. So people might say, "Oh yeah, well there was only like this and that much money for prize money," but he or like those things was not something Creative Assembly was making money off of. So it was a pretty huge investment for them still to fly out to 2 people, and those YouTubers they cost thousands of dollars, not just in fees, but also in like plane tickets, and you had to put them up in luxury hotels or sometimes boats. And they live in that's in Horsham. I don't know if they have water around there, so they have to have like a boat right in the middle of nothing. So it's
they have to do the Wolfric's boat, just teleport in.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like the numbers become like the investment for Creative Assembly gets crazy in that one. So when he wasn't there to use his natural charisma and stuff like that, it's there was no more Ever Chosen. So I think that's like a big thing in public perception.
But losing things like that, I feel like Warhammer 3, maybe not as a community, but like Creative Assembly, how it tends to the community is very artificial. Like content creators were invited on those streams, events with Warhammer 2. It was very friendly. They were listening to feedback. Actually, like I'm on this journey from Total Warhammer for 9 years right now, and it's like it changed so much to the point that maybe it will be like wrong saying, but it's like it became a company. From a community, it became a company. Mm-hmm. The Total War Warhammer as a thing. It always was about money and a company, but was like more. It was more cozy thing to come here sometimes.
It was more open. Yeah. I think there used to be this kind of. I mean, they used to do like streams all the time, didn't they? And you used to have people like like Wheels was there. You
Yeah.
had Grace, the community manager. There was Dogbert. You had all these people, and you could actively say, "I know who those people are."
Yes.
And now, if you ask me who's in CA, I'll be like,
There's a
Sean, who
goblin
came
man,
on our
right?
podcast, Monsters.
Yeah, Sean.
well, yes, okay, I wasn't there, so I don't know who he
That's
is.
true.
Sean. Hopefully, he if we ever meet him in real life, he won't just spit at us.
No, yeah, it upsets me that it's become like that, because when Sean did come on, like the response in the comments, and I think it's one of the best performing podcasts. Like everyone was just like, "This is great, more of this, please," because everyone wants to see CA's people.
Even on Reddit, they were like, "Yeah, this is great! Like having somebody talking to us."
Yeah, to know how actually the design and philosophy of things are going in this creative assembly is the thing that we are really lacking right now. You remember those blogs that was not just saying about the new mechanic, but how we want to change things, or that we see that people. I remember the experimental patch with the ports. Yes, they're saying that they want to change the ports and how the growth works, things like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm making my memories more sweet than they were, but
well, yeah,
there were more love in those.
Yeah, I think it's also because, as you say, they were becoming more and more of a company. So, so many things can affect like stock prices, stuff like that now as well. Like after COVID and things, so they don't want to say too much either. They're like super scared of over promising or doing stuff that can like affect Sega stock prices. And things like, oh yeah, we want to really have it in like hint at some dude, and then the stock price goes up, and then so nobody likes it, or everybody likes it, and the stock dives anyway. And
they promised a siege rework.
Step one of that.
You changed some of the sieges as well in SFO though.
We tried. I have some ideas to change the sieges. Like, for example, the big change that we did is that you don't get the points. It's not elemental tower difference anymore. So you pick the towers at the beginning, the barricades, and that's it. It's a bit better in my opinion, but it's. I think we're still thinking about it to make the towers to not be shooting anymore, that give aura around them. So making like in this aura, everything has a missile resistance, things like that. Because like barricades have this role right now, but it's not working. It's too small, it's too narrow, and it's too problematic in a way that you need to stack several units there, and you won't do it because AI can use the spell on you, or you do it against the AI. So I think the barricades should be just barricade or a station to shoot. That's it. Two types, no more. Maybe a trap that enemy cannot see and you go through it and gets a debuff or just damage. But the towers itself should be a buff. Yes, those should give the missile resistance, damage increase, things like that for the wider range, and not just shooting, because they are annoying as hell right now to have the towers that shoot, especially if you play Corn or something like that.
Yeah,
it would be very cool, because I feel like when you on defense, you're a bit like the fish in the barrel rather than like someone in the stronghold. Yeah. So if you had maybe a thing and it was like a big, what's that shield called from the Leastmen? Like Shield of the Ancients, a big one of those that gives you like a big flat damage resist for anyone in it, and then when you lose the control point, you lose that. That'd be a lot better and make sieges feel like you're actually holding out than just waiting for the arrows to come in.
I did with the patch 6.1. I did play a minor settlement battle the other day. And I came out of it feeling, hell, that was a lot more fun than fighting a walled siege battle, because it felt like the enemy were more spread out. Whereas whenever you fight a walled siege, what they do is you take the walls and then they just feed into your meat grinder until you're just like, well, now everyone's broken and I've not used 95% of this city. In fact, some of them, I still remember there's one settlement layout, and I can't remember which, I think it's like an Empire one or something, where it kind of like is an L shape. And it goes like so far down the map that I've never actually reached in all my hours of playing Warhammer 3. I've never reached the victory location on this.
You're only ordering fruit from there, never went there. It's like my also problem is that there's too many narrow streets in the sieges overall, and then game engine has problems with it. So units bloat, you have no control of it, so it's just a time of attrition. You just fast forward and go there and go there and go there. Like there should be way more narrow streets. There should be more wider. There should be more plaza points when you actually defend. And this tower thing will be working nicely, that the tower around this plaza makes it that this is a good defendable point. And with the siege rework in Warhammer 3, I think it really killed the field battles a bit. It's too many siege battles overall. Yeah. Even the minor settlement one, they are way better than the wild ones, but I still would like to have more actual field battles in this game.
Yeah, same. I'm actually gonna put in like just a small thing about the sieges there. I would really love to have like 1 or 2 unbreakable and absolutely indestructible barricades, because there are too many goddamn streets in this. Everything is so multiplayer focused that so like you can't just choke point because there's like a million choke points, so you can't cover them all. So you're just surrounded instead.
It's random. It's random when you do the barricade because enemy will just avoid it. And it same goes against player because like sieges don't work at all if you are attacking. It's semi-working when you are defending, as Colonel said, but it's like when you're attacking, it's just not working.
What do you mean with not working?
Because AI doesn't know where to defend the points.
Oh yeah.
And there are too many narrow streets, and like if you don't have mortars or things like that, then the artillery is useless. There are too many buildings. You will shoot you will shoot in them. There are no destruction, so you cannot just level them out and things like that. It's like I remember when they first showed the Warhammer 3 sieges with this the battles that no one plays. When you defend against AI.
Survival.
Survival battles, yes. And
I was
so
like, proud.
And I saw it. I remember I made a video about it, and it was like, if those sieges will be based on this idea, then the sieges are dead in this game. And I was sadly right.
All right, if you could blank slate make the sieges from the ground up, what would you do?
So first of all, as I said, I would base them on the maps from Warhammer 2, actually, the siege maps. Make them a bit bigger because they were the city parts were smaller. Mm-hmm. Yeah, make them a bit bigger, not like double like it is right now, 25% bigger. And each city should have 3-4 maximum wide streets that are able to sustain 2 units at least, because most of the streets are like for 1 unit. Yes, the wideness. So 2 units at least, so you actually can charge on them. Remove the barricades. Variants, just make 1 normal barricade that just blocks this path. That's it. Even the idea with the traps, things like that, maybe too much. And then make that you don't have a tower, but you can make the defense points. Like on this plaza, all your units get some bonuses and things like that. But to not make it that everyone bloats in one thing, I would do that this aura is limited to amount of units. So it can only affect 10 units max or something like that. So you want to spread them out. But this is like on the paper. How it will be working, I don't know. Maybe when they were writing the siege changes on paper, it was also fantastic. And then in the gameplay, it didn't work. Like the thing that I learned from modding and making my own game is that many things on paper looks fantastic.
Yeah. That goes for making videos too.
I would say that I think the problem with sieges is kind of more deeply seated. I think the sieges are obviously not great, but I think one of the reasons we ended up getting so sick of the minor settlement battles was because settlements are so close together that you can literally just go from one to the other. That the AI doesn't want to meet, like if an AI army is within range of one of your armies, which is rare because they do not like being anywhere near you, if you attack them, they'll just run away. So they usually congregate in a settlement anyway. So you ended up like going from like, it's the only place where they literally can't run away. If they're in a settlement, they can't run away from it. So you ended up attacking the settlement. And what I really hate is the fact that CA heard that, people are sick of settlement battles because they're only fighting settlement battles because that's the only place they can fight the AI. And went, let's just get rid of them then. So whenever you attack a settlement, you now just fight a field battle because that's the solution to that. It doesn't fix the problem. All it does is puts a sticky plaster over it.
Yeah, we tried with SFO to fix it a bit. So we added that the commandments, and there are way more bonuses for the movement for your own province. So you actually can catch AI if it goes on your territory, and it it actually makes that we have more, field battles, but it's like a temporary solution to the problem that we have.
I do actually think that when I was playing Grimhammer, that I fought a lot more field battles because the AI wasn't running away; they were actually staying and fighting. Which to me, every time I attack an army and it doesn't just run away, I'm always like, "Oh shit, they actually want to fight! Jesus Christ!" And I shouldn't feel like that, right? I shouldn't feel like, "Oh, gee, they're actually sticking around."
You know how it is made? This is a very easy thing. AI also have auto-resolve values. So AI auto-resolve value is a bit higher in SFO, so AI thinks it will win. And it doesn't run.
Ah, nice.
It feels so simple. To be honest, I think the AI should just have, I don't know. Maybe it should be less good at spotting you, and also just get rid of the runaway thing, because I hate that. I hate the fact that the AI can be in a position where it knows that if it gets attacked, it can run away around this, around a mountain or something. Because
you give me idea. What about if we would have a stance of movement that hides your army that you can normally move, but it makes that AI sees like a field around it. Let's say not AI, on you as a player, that you have information that in this region there is a possibility that there is an enemy army somewhere. So it's because like now the ambush is terrible as a mechanic. It's nowhere. Yeah, I think when you go into the ambush stance, it should be that you as a player see there is an ambush in this region, so you need to be careful. But it's not like it should be similar with the movement, because someone has like a invisible movement. Changeling have an invisible movement, I think. So it's just movable ambush, and it's not working.
No.
No, I do get sick of having to end every turn in an ambush just to try and like lure the AI out of its blob.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can set that you have a stance that you have an ambush for the whole region where your army is. Yeah. So no matter where AI comes to this region, there is a small chance that you will ambush it. That could also be it. Like a radius of ambush. Not only not that they need to step on you.
Yeah.
To get the ambush.
I don't know what it needs. I mean, I just wish, this is always a thing I hate about. So one of the things I really hate about Total War is the fact that the AI is so timid about fighting you. And I don't think there's anything more frustrating in Total War than having to chase an enemy army around the map, because they do not want to fight you, and they're just so good at playing keep away. And what they want to do is get around you so they can get at your settlements, which is again a problem with sieges. Because you almost never fight like a big defensive siege, because the AI will only attack settlements which it knows it can win a fight with. And if you're sitting in a settlement with an army, it's like, I ain't fighting that. I'm going to go around it. Thank you very much. I'm going to go, and so that you end up chasing after them anyway.
I know what can affect the ambush chance that would be working actually in vanilla. It would be leadership aura size.
Yes.
Yes.
This effect would have a purpose. Finally.
Yeah, finally. I'm going to circle back to an older question here. Will you add in Kabanda at some point back to SFO?
No.
Damn.
Why not? It's cool.
We have Scarbrand. We have so many cool things.
No, it's legendary.
Make
hero.
your peace with it.
Bloodthirster is so cool.
He won't. Fred's very chill for many things. When he's got something, he will not give up on it.
Don't mention Archaon. Don't mention Archaon.
I don't like legendary heroes. We have too many of them, and they are...
Preach.
Well, in that case, I'm going to circle back to, I thought, because you have developed some really cool mechanics for a lot of factions. One of my favorite ones was actually Wulfric, where he would teleport to different heroes. It was kind of like Arbal has now, but he would get like actual legendary lords.
We had stuff. Yeah, we are actually we are getting the mission that if you are in a war against a specific faction, you get a mission to go and fight against the legendary lord, and you're getting a lot of bonuses for it. But it was very complicated, and we never ported it to Warhammer 3 because it's not just copy paste. The whole thing would need to be rewritten.
Oh no, I really missed that one. So I was just going to ask you, like, because in Warhammer 2, there was clearly that you were trying to like make everyone more unique in Grimhammer. Playing Grimhammer was very special for basically all of them, but not as much in Warhammer 3. Then you get like for a couple of factions, you get the Grimhammer balance, which is also really good, but it won't be as special. Is it because you're feeling like you've done this for, well, it's just too much work basically to make it like that again?
So it's linked with several things. First of all, yes, some things cannot be ported from Warhammer 2, but because they take a lot of time and they are way easier to break. Warhammer 3 is a gigantic game. It's massive game. People don't understand how massive it is sometimes, and it's very easy to have something break. Like the updates for SFO with DLCs takes 1 month right now because it's such a big game. And the DLC is not just new content, but it changes the whole game in many occasions. Yeah, like the update that comes today, 6.1, most likely will just make a shish kebab out of SFO because of how many changes there are with Kislev, Zinch, and so on. And there are many things and mechanics that I would love to do in Grimhammer, but I always try to do something unique for the faction, even if it's something simple. I don't want to duplicate mechanics. Mm-hmm. Like there's a very common thing that people are asking that why not add the easiest one, item forging to other faction, yes? Or just upgrades to like Warriors of Chaos have to Bretonia or things like that. Because but you have this on this faction, you don't need it. And the same reason why I hate the Allied faction mechanic that you can get the other factions units. It's like, why play this faction when you can get the units from other faction and things like that? I want you to play every Legendary Lords of Green Skins and want to play each of them and not just how it is right now in vanilla. The best way is always to play the Grom and the Punch and just confederate the rest. Because they have no mechanics.
Yeah, that way, yeah.
That is a problem with a lot of factions in Warhammer 3, where it's like if you played one, you've played them all, basically missing out on a starting location and maybe one unit being, having 5 more attack.
Yes. And I always like, it needs to be a good idea. For example, also, just a final note, Daniel. Daniel can have a technology tree. I think the technology tree for him is very easy. But do he really needs it? Because his God's bars, that you unlock, the cosmetics and so on, is actually a technology tree for him. So if we add the technology tree for him, there needs to be something unique, something different than the other factions, in my opinion. This is the thing that I'm working right now on Skaven, because I want to change the technology tree. It's like a digging excavation mechanic.
Oh,
that's cool. Actually, you need to dig tunnels in a tech tree, and then you make tunnels like in Dungeon Keeper. You make rooms, and those rooms have bonuses and things like that. It's very complex, but I hope it will work. It's still in works for Skaven.
Sounds pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's no Kabanda, but it's pretty cool.
Because their technology tree is also terrible for the Skaven.
Do you think this is something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm sure Fred's mentioned this at some point, and I've just told it. Like in Total War, there's too much things, there's too many skills, there's too many research projects, and none of them have much impact. Wouldn't it be so much better if there was like 50% of all of those things, but each of them had impact and took more time to unlock? Because I don't know about you, I'll just stick it on this research thing, it'll take 25 turns so I don't have to worry about it. Because the effects are going to change my life.
I totally agree with that. I would leave only our leadership aura size effect, because it's very good. But we had a lot of technologies in Warhammer 2 to the point that it was a bloat. Like Warhammer 2, in terms of some mechanics, some technologies, things that amounts of buildings that we are, I think was a bloat. So when we converted to Warhammer 3, we removed all of those. And there was like a common complaint. People are asking, where are those extra 50 technologies for Malakev that he had in Warhammer 2? And I was like, he still has those, but I just incorporated them into normal technologies, those vanilla ones with the effects. And say, no, I still want those 50 more. And I was like, but the effect is the same. And if we do the same with skill trees, the skill trees is like the thing that I really would love to rework, but I would need like 10 people at least to help me with that. I would love to make that characters have like 30 levels max or even 20 levels max. They are way less often, and each skill that you pick is only 1 point, and they are really impactful. And let's say every character would have 30 skills, but you can spend only 20 on them. That would be way more interesting in terms of choices, because right now in vanilla especially, there's in heroes there are more points than skills that you can spend on it, which is stupid. We added a lot of skills to Warhammer 3, all legendary lords, heroes, and like that, because it's easier to do that way. But I would love to like scrap all the skills for all the legendary lords, all the heroes, things like that, and just make way less of them.
Makes a lot more. There are just so many little itty bitty.
This is the thing that when Warhammer 40k will be released, I'm doing this from day one, like making way less levels, way less skills. This is.
So God, that game better have Titans in it. I'm going to so cross.
No, that's a DLC, man. We know how this works.
It's fine. I don't care if it's DLC. That's fine. But what I want is I want Titans and I want Gargants. Give me these things.
Yeah, the current Warhammer 3 deals skill situation. It's like Cyberpunk, which I've just been replaying. The initial skill trees were just like all % bonuses and didn't make any difference. And now with the 2.0 thing, it's like you pick up a skill and you get an entirely new ability that like changes how you play. I want it to be like that. I know it's a different type of game, but come on, CA.
I don't think it's that different type of game. I remember when we were making the design of my own game, and my game is very based on upgrades. Like, there is a lot of renovations, things like that you can do. And one point we were thinking like, what we do, let's say we have a room that when you gather gold there, your cultists gather gold there. And what we do upgrade that they gather more gold, or we make that you can start selling this gold for stuff, or you can manipulate it, or get other resources, things like that. So technology tree, as you are saying, is the same thing in Warhammer. It's just bonuses like in the old Cyberpunk, the terrible one that was 1.0. But mechanically, most of the things are working like that way in Warhammer 3. They are just bonuses. They are passive mechanics that don't give much.
Yeah. It is sad.
So I would gladly cut the half of the mechanics from the game.
Yeah. And like tech trees, I can't remember which mod I was playing, but it was like tech trees unlocked units. And I was like, that's such a simple idea that actually makes tech worth getting. Because instead of just rushing the buildings with growth and gold, you now have to be like, right, I need to get my research cracking so I can get these good units. And slows down the game a lot, which I like.
Technically, you still have that in vanilla with the Empire factions that aren't Carl, because then you get the lecture count units via tech tree. They just cost $10,000.
Also, there was a very cool technology tree, not perfect, but Free Kingdoms had a similar one.
Yeah.
The UI of it was terrible because I am colorblind and I saw nothing of it. But besides that, that was a very cool idea there. Like the buildings were branching there also.
Yeah, I love the branching building idea. Like,
we have this mechanic right now in Warhammer 3. It's possible.
It's on the demonic main settlements. It doesn't make much difference.
They added it with the dwarf elves also.
Yeah,
it's also
the
new Kislev mechanic uses it.
Oh yes, it does.
It does? Oh, I don't know. I don't have it.
Yeah, so you've got because now they use you have 2 bars that fill up based on whether it's the Ice Court or the Orthodoxy.
Yeah.
And the new buildings they've added, there's basically one for each, and they kind of I think there's 2 buildings, and then the last one's a forked one, and there's different options.
That's a great idea. Like always, the thing we were doing in Greenhammer is adding more buildings, more options. So every settlement is a bit different. Which is a problem in vanilla right now, that you always have the same settlements no matter what.
Yeah, 90% of settlements are goddamn exactly the same unless they have a landmark.
Yeah, particularly because unless it's like your frontline settlement, there's no point having recruitment buildings there because you're never going to be anywhere near them to recruit. So you may as well just build the economy buildings.
Once again, shout out to 3 Kingdoms, one of the best games ever made. They just like, oh yeah, this is a mining town. You know what they're gonna make? It ain't fishing, it's mining, and that's what they do.
3 Kingdoms, the best game of it, as long as you have the mod that removes the council missions, because fuck those things. There's nothing worse than turn 4 of the game going, you've got -20 food. Enjoy for the next 5 turns.
Oh yeah.
And freaking
Yeah.
note, also I really like the duels between characters. It was actually working in Warhammer 3 when character is, especially if one is on the mount and second is not, it's like it's a shit show.
It's so crazy that they did that for Three Kingdoms, but they didn't think that was a thing that'd be cool in Warhammer. That like the seas part and then Vlad and Carl just have a showdown for the ages.
Particularly because it is a mechanic in the game, like you can issue a duel to an enemy character in a regiment and they have to fight.
Yeah, I mean, then you would have to make like synced combat for everybody, and that I think is going to be.
It doesn't
really
need
hard.
to be sync combat. I think it could work if it doesn't sync combat, but if you at least remove this pony circling with a horse combat when it's against character, that would work.
It's like, attack this man. No, don't escort him off the screen when he's running away.
Mark of Chaos game had it, duels, ages ago, and there was no sync combat, and it was working.
I'm just trying to think how it would work with Mazda Mundi.
I still think that sync combat is like something they really should have, because I'm really a person who enjoys details and stuff. I talk about on my stream a lot about grass fix, and that's just like how good the grass is in video games. So like the best games with grass is like Troy, weirdly enough. Troy has video game grass that is mind-blowingly good. No, it's like, for real, it really is. Like the light armor units will just have like a little bit of stuff, well, a little bit of like change in the grass. If you have a heavy unit, they'll actually do something. Like chariots will have like wheel tracks and flatten the grass. But if they're bloody, they'll actually draw the blood into the grass as well, as you can see like blood trails on it.
Troy and Pharaoh are such pretty games. They really are. They knock Warhammer 3 out the window.
And it's also one of those things where in let's see, in for example, Skyrim, if you ever mod Skyrim and you just add grass to it, you'll notice straight away, not just does your GPU die a little bit, but also it becomes so much prettier straight away. You get like so much more immersion. It is crazy. And a game that survived like and aged incredibly well is like, it's Batman Arkham City and Arkham Knight and those games, because they have so many like particle things with their physics and stuff like that, and they have just details everywhere. Everything is just so much stuff everywhere. It's like garbage cans, everything like that. And it just adds into the world. And small details like that is what makes stuff good. Warhammer 2 became such a cool game straight away because dragons dueled in the sky. Dragons would fight like abominations. Like if you had like Malekith versus Tyrion, they actually have synced combat stuff. Same also with Malekith, just on or a lot of them actually on the ground. They'll do really cool stuff. Like Malekith will like plant a shield down, push somebody into it, just chop their head off. And
like favorite animation. And those are actually those sync duels were actually doing damage.
Yeah, exactly. Like they are so goddamn cool. And then they just disappeared. So it just becomes more generic, like they don't age as well. It does so much for the games to just have synced combat like this. So yeah, that's just my 5-minute rant about like, I don't know if we need that for the duels. It's like, yes we do.
The Warhammer 3 battles are very I don't know, I think all Warhammer battles have been very spectacle based. Like the tactics haven't really been there because the rock paper scissors system just doesn't work. So it's just a bit more of a shit fest. But yeah, like it would just be so sick to have a dueling system, and it'd go so well with the theme and the aura of the game. But it's not gonna happen.
But you know why it didn't happen, in my opinion, because of the scope. They went too far with Warhammer 3.
Possibly.
They went just too much at the time, and right now we have a cycle of repair and not new content.
I mean, I still think that if they would just add like 3 more synced animations between monsters or something like that, that would just be cool.
Did the Discord died?
No. Did it?
Yes, it did.
Oh no.
Don't know.
Brief pause while Richard's Discord comes back to life, I guess.
We need to talk about something positive for Total War.
Nah. It's not on brand.
The thing is, I love Total War. I do. I love Warhammer 3. I mean, it's a game that I've got. How many hours have I spent in this stupid game?
Don't you think that people don't see it as you do? Because like recently I made a video about Avowed that I really like the game. I finished it. My wife also finished it. We really loved Avowed, and people were complaining that I do not complain about Avowed, but I complain about Total War. It's
I
like,
think yeah, because I spent 3,674 hours playing Warhammer 3, and I wouldn't have spent all that time if I didn't love the game. The problem is that because I play the game so much, I see all the bad things that annoy me all the time.
yes, that's the thing.
And those, I think, are the things that go. Of course, I love the game. I think it's frankly, there's been no better implementation of the Warhammer universe in any game ever, right? There probably never will be. I can't imagine that anyone's ever going to top this. And they've made 3 games and they've managed to mash them together into a world map that pretty much is the entire Warhammer world. Like, that is absolutely freaking mind-blowing. The fact there are factions in this game that did not exist in Warhammer. Things like Cathay and Kislev. I mean, Kislev did exist, but you had like 3 unit types. You had the Wings Lancers, you had, I think there were some bow guys, and you had Katerin, and that was it, basically. That was the Kislev roster as far as Warhammer was concerned. And now you've got that faction in there. It's amazing. But it still fucks me off.
I know.
That
I call it the Star Wars effect. I was in the shower, and for some reason, the Rise of Skywalker popped into my head. I was just getting so pissed off thinking about it. But then I was like, who cares? People will just go and be like, oh, a Star Wars film, that's good. Anyway, and then move on with their day. They don't sit there speaking about it.
I'm just going to go back to Cabana. No, I mean Avowed.
No, you can't.
So Avowed, I recently played Avowed as well. I just got to like say this one because my favorite thing about that one is that when you jump off a cliff into the water, usually in video games, you'll have like a little, whoa. But I don't know if it was the voice I chose or something like that, but when I jumped off a cliff into the water, he just went like, he was absolutely panic yelling. That was the funniest thing ever. He just came out of nowhere. I started laughing so much. I had to like climb up the cliff again and just like jump up and it's so good.
Your guy is having an awful time jumping off this cliff, and you're like, that was amazing. Let's do that again.
Yeah, it was funniest thing in the world. I thought, like, just great voice acting as well. It's the most panic I've ever heard.
So should we move on to talking about Whispers of the Eyeless?
Yeah.
Unless
No.
anyone has any.
No, let's do it.
Everyone should still go out, try out Grimhammer. I personally love it. It's one of my favorite ways to play the game. Like if Inventus does add units, and they're so well implemented as well. I think because it is stuff that the roster is missing. For example, like the vampire counts get a zombie dragon late game, which is just one of those things that works so well into the roster. Because he just fills a role that isn't there otherwise. The Empire gets like Sigmarite Disciples, which is just a heavier frontline. You know, they're not Ironbreakers or Longbeard team, but they are a heavier frontline, and they work well together with Halberdiers as well. And there's just small additions, not too much stuff, and just definitely go check them out. It is a really fun way to try out the game, especially if you play this, you just want to experience something else. Try.
Well.
Yeah, the thing that I tried it yesterday for the first time, being honest. And the reason I hadn't tried it before is because I thought it was like this giant overhaul that like is so overwhelming, but it's really not. It's just like little tweaks and changes and new additions here and there that make the game just a little bit different. It's very approachable in my opinion.
It's still the same game, you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't like some stuff, we have the SFO mod menu.
Yeah,
you
that's
can change
really cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but could you add into the menu something which makes fanatics do damage to friendly units again? Because I really do not like the fact that fanatics come out and don't reduce their own unit into a paste. That makes me sad.
Fanatics? Which fanatics?
The Night Goblin fanatics, the ball and chain guys.
Oh yes, that could be possible to do in the menu, because then I could do that. I would do the duplicate ability that have a friendly fire, and it replaces it.
That would make me feel, because I I fought a Night Goblin army, and they used fanatics, and I was like, "Oh, these guys are going to go back into their own unit," and they did nothing, and I was like, "Ah."
We automated the ability. That's true, because like if you have a whole army of fanatics, it was like clicking.
That is fair. That is fair. And I guess then you wouldn't have no control over them. Still, I just like watching Night Goblins being reduced into paste.
I can make a version for you, like a submod in 5 minutes, that they have a friendly fire, and also if you play ogres, they're just all dying out of starvation.
Nice.
Oh yeah, your hate towards the ogres. Do you want to expand on that before we move on?
So why I hate ogres? This is like a trivia of SFO 4 years, so I can tell it here. The big reveal is that I played a lot of RPG sessions with my friends over the years, and one of the game masters made the whole campaign in Cathay, and we had like a character that was the ogre ninja monk. He was called Yehesha, and I hated the guy so much that when our campaign went to the Great Maw, I was playing Dwarf Slayer, and we went near the Great Maw. I just said to my friends, I was like, you know, guys, this is it. And I just throw myself into the Great Maw with this character. And I said, no ogres. It was terrible. He was just annoying, but he was meant to be annoying as a character. And me not liking ogres is just a meme, but that's the truth.
Wow.
That's very melodramatic.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a much shorter story than I thought. I thought it was going to be something like, so it was a harsh winter.
1997.
And as I saw the ogre, he destroyed the dam, it caused the flood.
Yeah. Break the dam, yeah. Release the river.
Right, so Whispers of the Eyeless, which is Venris's game, which I'm going to be honest, I've played the demo of. I haven't played the actual game.
Demo was ages ago.
Yeah,
the demo was ages ago, because it wasn't last Next Fest, it was the Next Fest before. But I did enjoy it.
It changed a lot since. It's way better.
It?
Yes,
yes. How did you feel after you saw me playing it and absolutely get demolished in it?
I don't know, nerd. You're just bad at games, so it's normal.
God damn it.
Skill issue.
Got him.
Skill issue. The game, what I can say that overall, TLR, the game is about creating your own cult, and you are an evil prophet, and you just need to get the good guys, let's call it, on their knees and take over the city. That's the base premise of the game. But the biggest problem of the game at the beginning, when we were creating it, was the tutorial of it, explaining the game itself. So this is the thing that was improved a lot, because like you have a lot of mechanics and you know how they work, and it's like, try to get someone sit down on Total War right now, the most complex mechanic, let's say Chaos Dwarfs, and just give them an hour. They will hate the game. I'm quite sure they will hate the game, because it's just it's hard to explain sometimes things in the games. You know, if you are not familiar with the concept, like people like original games, but it's hard to explain an original game.
Yeah.
You know what RTS is, you know what Souls games are right now, yes? But like cult management game, when you need to manage people, then you need to go on the fights, then you need to go on the quests that are interactable, cinematics and things like that. It's like how to explain to the people in a just digestible way. So it's a big challenge while making our own game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can imagine that, because it is quite a deep game.
Yes, mechanically, we have a lot of mechanics, and we are also adding more depth to the mechanics future updates,
which is great. I because I say I only played the demo for the previous Next Fest, which I think was the autumn Next Fest.
It was autumn. But you can be only on one Next Fest on Steam, by the way.
Really?
Yes, your game can only opt into one Steam Next Fest.
That's interesting.
How weird.
But you have to choose.
Yeah, we were
wisely.
on the autumn one, and then almost a year ago right now, we were on the Kickstarter and had the demo there for a month.
Oh, blimey. So can you not have a demo forever? Or
No. You can have a demo forever, but it's like, it's not a good deal, being honest. You need to want to have a FOMO effect also. And
Yeah.
having a demo separated from the main game version, especially if you're still in the development early access, is problematic. How you can
Yeah.
do it? You will cut the content. You need to make the content only for the demo. You cannot make something branching because people will be relaunching the demo all the time and will get all the content for free or something like that.
That makes sense. So Whispers, I mean, it feels like Darkest Dungeon was quite an influence. Is that true?
Only in the art style. Our artist like the style a lot, but it still has its own vibe. If you look on comparable both games, we had like a lot of comments that is a Darkest Dungeon knockoff and things like that. And when it's actually funny enough, we had several refunds for the game because when you refund the game on Steam, you can write the notes, and the refunds were like, "This is not Darkest Dungeon. This is not similar to Darkest Dungeon." No one promised you it's similar to Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, if I would compare it, I would say it's more like Cult of the Lamp. So in terms of the management,
I was going to say, it feels like someone took Darkest Dungeon, Cult of the Lamb, and like a narrative experience and went kind of like...
Yeah. So it's like, and combat is more like Slay the Spire meets Loop Hero. So it's auto battler with some abilities that you pick. And as you said, in narrative, it's more like the interactive games that you have in the, of course, they are 3D, like Detroit Become Human and things like that. When you just make the dialogue options and that's it, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's sort of like a point-and-click adventure.
Yes, that was always the idea.
And then
we have a lot of mini games also in the game, but none of them are like reflex. They are just picking like memory, different cards, things like that. We want this game to be cozy in a way that you can sit down an hour and just stop playing it. You don't need to sit down like in Baldur's Gate, yes? Because if you're playing Baldur's Gate, you need like a whole day for it.
Yeah, I stopped playing Baldur's Gate before I finished the first act, and now I feel like I'm going to have to go back and finish.
I finished the first act, and that just killed me. The amount of things that just popped up on me in the tavern in the second act was like, you know what? I have a job. I don't need the second one.
It looks really cool. So what? Okay, so you've got like the three ancient gods, right? I don't know. I can't remember what you called them.
The dead gods.
The dead gods. Why is there no Nurgle?
Why is there no Nurgle? So we have Wrath, Desire, and Madness. And you can think that the Desire is like a combination of Nurgle and Slanesh. Because it's all about being selfish. Just take everything for yourself.
I see. Okay. Well, I just don't like you can't give plagues to anyone. I don't know why. I just like giving plagues to people. It's just it's a weakness.
There haven't been that many.
You're not a bad guy here. You want to give a salvation to people. You're not a bad guy.
There hasn't been a lot of deceased cults in history compared to the other ones either. Maybe you could argue that maybe the Spanish were it's a little bit or something, but or like various terrorist groups, but otherwise, nah, not really.
Yeah, I guess if you give yourself anthrax, you don't tend to get much further.
No, what is it? It's like 92% chance to survive. No, to die if you get it on your skin. And it's like just goes lower and lower the rest.
Oh dear.
Little fun anthrax facts, I guess.
Fun fact. The thing also with the game is that we really based it on Polish folklore. So there is a lot of elements how the game looks. Right now on the base, there are 4 districts in this city that we call Aranto. And it's like the first one is very poor. It's like based on Polish nobility that was very poor in the 17th century, things like that. But like when we go to the other district that will be like a high city, so it's like a more rich cultural one, there will be like based on the different types of Polish history. So one of them is like the Sarmatin, so Husaria, like Kislev, you can say, and they actually wearing things like that. But then we have the one that is based on communism, and then the one is like on the beginning of 20th century of Poland, and so on.
Has the combat changed very much from the Next Fest demo?
Yes, and we are still going to change the combat because right now the combat is a bit like auto battler. You pick the actions and you just fight, and you have some abilities that can you use between turns. but we are looking based on feedback into more like action against action. So you can defend or attack based on what enemy is doing. It's like we want it to be more rock, paper, scissors, because right now it's just you just pick what is the best and you win, let's say. And we want to be like, as I said, rock, paper, scissors. But it's in early access. That's why we are getting feedback and getting a lot of cool ideas from people.
So that's the only part of the game where I was kind of like, this is just that the combat felt very, very samey. Like I was just using the same ability again and again and again.
Yes, that's why we are changing it. But also with the recent update that was released last week, we added the way that you don't need to go on a tails, so you don't need to fight to progress the day. You can just go to the city, and there's a small mini game that you need to find the people in the crowd for your specific god, and that ends the day. So you go and preach about the dead gods. You don't need to fight all the time.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. I must give it another go. When did you try it, Fred?
One of the first days of early access, I think, when you actually released it on Steam.
Was it?
When I tried this the first time, I think it was just it had just come out on Steam or
in February.
Or something. Yeah,
it changed
somewhere. Yeah, I got demolished anyway. So I did not understand exactly everything.
We added the easy difficulty right now, so it's like a Fred difficulty.
Oh, nice, thanks. Yeah, that's
just for you. Well, it's got very positive reviews on Steam, which is really good because
we are getting very good reviews. I'm very happy about that. I didn't expect it, being honest. I expected way less in terms of reviews.
How is it for you working on this compared to working on SFO? Obviously, it's like a bit more of your own baby. Do you enjoy it more? Do you find it a bit more fulfilling, or is it all the same?
It's harder for sure. Making own game is way harder. It gives you a very good perspective on, because like modders in all games, there is a lot of drama always about modders in games. All games, it's always a point that modders become very cocky. Like they say that my mod is better than the game or something like that, yes? Or I fixed the game for you and so on. It's the case in some places, yeah, well, let's face it. But like when you're making your own game from the ground up, and especially if it's like an original idea, it's really hard. You need to have a gameplay loop. You need to have a mechanics that keep people interested so they want to play it. And then when you are modding a game, you have everything done. You have the base, you have the gameplay loop, you just adjust the numbers. So it's way, way, way easy. And that's making own game is very humbling in a sense that, okay, I was just a modder right now, okay? For 9 years I was modding, I'm still modding, but it's like nothing compared to making a game. Making own game, how hard it is, how expensive it is also, it's way different. But I like both of those things for different things. Modding is cool because you have this base, you have this franchise that you like, with Warhammer, for example, that I like. But with own game, it's like your own game. You can do what you want with it. And there's no one above you. It's such a cool, fulfilling thing. And then when you see that things start to click and it just works.
That's fun.
It's very much like when you do a video or a stream that's a bit out there and then it does really well. You're just like, oh, yes. Something that really makes you happy. It's always nice. That's great.
Yeah.
What do you think has been like the hardest challenge that surprised you in making a game?
I would say making ideas a realization. Like many ideas on paper are great. Like you can write a document that have 80 pages of a game and it sounds awesome. When you start implementing those stuff and you look like, this is total shit. This is garbage. And I think this is the problem with all the games. Or maybe not even the games, like everything, movies and things like that. Some things on the paper are fantastic. And then you start implementing because you need to start implementing it because without it, you won't know if it's working. And you find out that you wasted time, wasted money, and you need to do it again.
Yeah, I read a book that said new ideas are like small animals. They're very easy to kill.
Yes. Yes.
And some of them didn't deserve to live anyway.
Yes,
Damn.
this is a
Yeah, it's a very brutal saying. It was like, well, I don't know how the last part was.
New ideas are
Yes.
like adorable little hamsters. Some of them you just have to stomp.
No, they're very easy to kill, was what they said first.
But I think the biggest problem with gaming is right now that some ideas that are bad are killed too late, or not killed at all, like Siege Rework.
Yeah, or the Realms of Chaos.
Have you ever watched the H. Bomber Guy video about Deus Ex? In that, he talks about how the new Deus Ex game, they just like had the paper and they stuck to it. They didn't change it. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like when something don't work on paper, doesn't work when you get it off the paper, you gotta scrap it if you just stick to that original idea. Like your first idea for anything is shit. It always is. But you have to go through that to get to the end. So yes, definitely cut things rather than just force them.
So no, you
I just want to say that getting back to Total War, that's very visible with Warhammer 3 mechanics, things like that. That maybe that the ideas on paper are not that bad, but there are just too many factors when you make them live. Like with the Skull Taker. I don't think they thought that he will be so abusable at the release with his Blood Host.
That was really fun, though. I mean, admittedly,
it
it
was.
really unlikable.
I think
But it should be like a mini campaign that allows it, and not the whole campaign.
Yeah.
I think Realms of Chaos in general is one of those on paper ideas. It's like, oh, you go to the Chaos Realms and you collect the 4 horsemen of the Chaos Apocalypse and then go to the end. It sounds really cool. And then you play like, wow, this is repetitive. Holy moly.
And then you have 10 FPS there, and it's so fantastic.
I mean, the idea wasn't bad, but I genuinely don't think I've had if I had to say the worst experience I've ever had with Total War, it would be taking the ogres into the Zinch survival battle.
Oh God!
At the end of the Chaos Realm of Zinch, because
there were battles there. I totally forgot that they were like a final battle of Realms of Chaos.
Out of your mind.
Oh my, yeah.
But the ogres are a faction which requires a lot of like charging and stuff. And Zinch is a faction which tends to have a lot of ranged units and flying units. And so you just and the survival map for Zinch was like this really weird sort of like it's basically like a big siege map. So there's like so many different little narrow streets. So you've got these giant fat ogres trying to charge units which are currently shooting at them over a wall just constantly. And it's horrible. I hate it. I got through it, but only through sheer force of will. And I was like, I never want to do this again.
And they were so long also. They were like 1 hour, something like that.
They're so
Vanilla
long.
also.
I remember we got to play those early for some events. And my crashed like just at the end. And they were like, oh yeah, just go again. And I just played it again. And then it just crashed. I was like, dude, I've been here for 2 hours. I was like, and I was like, all right, well, I'll do it again.
Let me go.
So I just assumed that when I hated it was just because of the crash, and I did it for like 3 hours straight away, or like not really 3 hours, but 2 hours at least.
I think it works better for factions which are more stationary, like we played as Kislev.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like setting up a defensive position and kind of having units like crash into you constantly.
Yeah.
The problem comes when you play a non-stationary, when you're playing a faction which relies on movement and rear charges and stuff. You can't rear charge a unit if they've got 4 other units currently coming in from the edge of the map, and then 5 more behind that, because you just get rear charged yourself. You just end up in this weird sort of multicolored sandwich, which isn't fun.
They tried to add it back with Chaos Dwarfs Final Battle, and it semi-worked, in my opinion. It was not terrible. When you need to defend the fortress from the dwarves.
I think it would work better if it was sort of like... It was... I don't know if this would actually work. It's one of those things where on paper, maybe this would work, but you would have to actually like try it out. Whether, rather than just having this constant wave of units, if like an army came on and you had to fight that army, and then you got to move to the next area, if something like that happened. Because I think the problem is there's just this constant sort of assault of units coming in from the side is just obnoxious to deal with.
I'm just gonna go back to your game a little bit. I'm gonna ask you, like, they changed the algorithm as well for Steam on how early access games are being promoted by the algorithm. Like, you only have 2 years now for early access, then it's gonna be like dropped by the Steam algorithm. Did that change a lot, like how you're working with the game, or like your mindset for it?
Not really. We still want early access to be 1 year for the game. Because like the base of the game, the mechanics, things that are there. We're just adding content, drawing all of the cinematics, things like that. Takes a time because the game is very narrative heavy. But the thing with the Steam changes I really like is that at least they said that they will promote the early access games that get updates often. Because there are many early access games that are like getting updates 1 per 6 months or 1 year or things like that. And we try to have an big update every month. Right now, we have the biggest one after a month, and then smaller every week or 2, something like that. So Steam as a tool in like making the game early access and so on it's very handy so far, at least.
Yeah, I had a member of my community had their own game, and it went a little bit over 2 years because they changed the 2 years, and then when they released this, they didn't get much traffic from the algorithm on Steam, which is apparently very important. I never really thought about that myself, because I, as an influencer, is narcissistic, so I just thought everybody got their news from other influencers only. So as long as people talk about it, it's fine. But most of the traffic is obviously from like Steam and getting recommendations, stuff like this.
Yes, the wish list, the wish lists are very important, because if you discount a game, or at least 20%, that everyone gets an email, like not spam, actual email from Steam. The game on your wish list was discounted. Yes. There's also a thing that people generally don't buy early access games. The early access games are not generally bought by people.
Oh, really?
They afraid of those games, because there are 40,000 games every month right now. Or year, I don't remember. Like a crazy amount of games on Steam that is being released every month and a year. I think it's 40,000 a year, something like that. Yeah. So 40,000 a month was a year was last year, and 90% of those games, 95 I think from the data, never even gets $100 revenue. So think how bad most of those games are.
Yeah, it was somebody said from some game developer conference that there is still a lot of people wanting to have indie games, and there's a big market for it. You can become incredibly successful, just like the Stardew Valley. Maybe not as successful as Stardew Valley, but you can still find like a lot of indie games and like smaller games that aren't AAA. But the competition is so hard. So having a good game isn't always enough to find that success, but you have to have like a great game.
Yeah, and that may not be enough, even having a great game. Advertisement really helps.
Yeah.
And having a big influencer making, title shown. Like, we had the 2 publishers from influencers recently. So there was one from Donkey. There was, I don't remember the name of the publisher, but the Donkey, something like that. And then we had the one from Asmongold, the Bad Mushroom or something like that. Yeah. Doesn't matter. But 2 publishers made out of the influencers. And the Donkey one are great success. All 3 games they published so far, gigantic success, indie and so on. And Asmongold games, none of them are successes.
You tell me that the man that gets woken up by a dead rat smelling up his room doesn't know how to publish games? I am shocked and aghast. Sorry,
people don't want to buy the game, but he had like the whole group. He's not alone. He had like OTK, something like that. They were trying to make like their own game awards and so on, but he all died because of the drama. So if you have a lot of individuals, there's drama always around it. I went into this world of gaming when we were trying to find the publisher, and we had one publisher also that we ended the contract with him on our side because we were not happy. And I have to say that the publishers are the biggest problem in the marketing company, the gaming company right now. Because the things that I hear there, talking with publishers, very big ones sometimes wanted to make you cry, really. How corporate the world there is.
Yeah.
So and the indie game devs are not indie anymore in most cases, sadly. Like most of the indie games, there is a big publisher behind them right now.
I mean, indie doesn't really mean anything. Now, all of these labels don't really mean anything at all. Like indie, it used to be independent, but there's like not a lot of games like that. But now it just means smaller game. It's like AAA and 2A and stuff like that. Don't mean anything either.
There are very few people like Hooded Horse as a publisher, from my experience. Like Hooded Horse people are wonderful.
Yeah.
And how they treat.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, I was also worried there because I know a couple of them as well.
Bastards.
Yes, I won't say what companies I don't like, but I will say the Hooded Horse was the best. The company that I met, really, in terms of publishing.
Okay. I was going to ask, is Hooded Horse okay? And if you went, no, there are a bunch of arseholes. I'd be like, oh no, not them as well.
They are very good. They are great people.
Yeah, I mean, like Hooded Horse has a ton of like old content creators and stuff like that, like people who just had their passion in video games.
Like Mandalore, Surreal Beliefs.
Yeah,
they are part of
Havoc.
Havoc, yeah.
Yeah.
They know they want to play games. They don't want to just get money out of it.
Yeah, like Havoc is constantly like, oh, I can't wait to play this game that we're also happen to be releasing. It's like, that fella's living his dream. He gets to talk about and help publish games that he wants to play. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
Havoc was helping me with editing videos and SFO ages ago, back in Warhammer 2.
Havoc is a gem. I hung out with him some in Paris 2 years ago. It's a great dude. So
what we've been playing.
Maybe it's time for our last segment here. I'm just going to end this one with saying that I'm really happy that Wizard of the Eyeless is finding success, that you're finding success in it. It gladdens my heart every time I see it and talk to you about it. So thank you for sharing those things with us about it as well. And everyone should go check out Whispers of the Eyeless. It's a cool game. Definitely, it's still in early access, but it will be released hopefully within a year. So yeah. Let's move on to the next segment, which is what has everybody been playing lately?
Shall I go? I've been playing lots. All right, hang on. Let me pull up my spreadsheet.
Oh my God.
Oh, your spreadsheets.
Flashbang. Right. Oh, finally finished Cyberpunk. What a game. Finished the Phantom Liberty DLC. Finished the main game again. And it's weird finishing a game like that. Because like the DLC is so good. So good. The quests, the side content, it's all brilliant. And then like you come back and finish the main game, you're like, this is okay. It's such a weird, a weird feeling.
I can only one say about Cyberpunk. I played it last year. I didn't play it on release. I had a friend of mine that is a YouTuber that was on those pre-release, shows for the game. And I remember he called me and said like, don't buy the game. Don't buy it.
Oh, really?
I cannot say anything, but just don't buy it. If you have a pre-order, just cancel it, he said to me.
Yeah.
Dang.
But before release, it was. But
yeah.
Then I played it last year, and I would say that Cyberpunk is one of the worst and the best experience I had in gaming.
Exactly that.
It's sometimes this game is 2 out of 10, sometimes it's 10 out of 10. But then again, it's 2 out of 10. It's like so strange experience. I would not be able to rank this game.
Yeah, it's a hard one to score.
I try to imagine. My chat. I forgot to get rid of my chats. So they're like typing in my offline chat now. I went and got to see like Cyberpunk like a year before release or something like that, like in like press showing. So I got like a jacket that I still use every day to this day.
You got one of those jackets?
Yeah. I got.
So
you want to see it? You want to see it?
Yeah.
I'll go get it. Yeah.
You have all the coolest shit. This ain't fair.
What?
You got the jacket.
The coolest thing I got was that gauntlet for the that really bad Age of Sigmar game.
Where is it? It's There it is. You can't really see
Age
it.
of Sigmar game was not that bad.
Yes, it was.
It's pretty bad. Oh, shit, man, that is an amazing jacket.
Yeah, it's actually really
Oh,
good and
that's
cool.
sick.
Oh,
It's still a
samurai.
bit wet because I literally use it every single day.
I'm so
and you can also
jealous.
you can also do it like this. Now you can buy them for like $80 or $50 or something like that. But
Did
like
you
when
watch
they got
it at least
released,
once since you got it?
when they got released, they were like something like 800 or 900 euros, something like that on eBay.
They do the proper
Oh,
leather ones on it.
and now we are from Edge Runners.
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
It's
man,
Like David had in Edge
amazing.
Runners.
then you have it like that. Cyberpunk
Yeah.
back in
Oh,
the.
that is-
Yeah, it's a really. I love this jacket. Honestly,
It's really good.
See,
Oh,
I've got a yellow jacket as well, but I tend to wear this whenever I go out to pick my son up from school, and now everyone around the village knows me as the
High-vis man.
high-vis wearing man. Yeah,
This YouTuber guy.
literally that.
You should
That
have
is
Monsters
amazing.
Bound printed on the back of the high vis.
Anyway, I was gonna say about Cyberpunk. The Cyberpunk I enjoyed because I enjoyed it at release. It was like a little bit janky, but I don't really search for jank, and I'm very, very like
Massive.
easygoing when it comes to like jankiness overall. So I don't search it out and stuff like that because I used to play a lot of Skyrim, and there it's like, oh yeah, I modded one of the roof textures wrong, and that's why it crashes every time I go into that specific goddamn village or something.
Maybe I was unlucky, but even playing on the release of Phantom Liberty whole game, I had a lot of bugs. Like I was going for the street, there was a lot of people. I turn around and there was nothing, no cars, no people. It was very constant. Or NPC chair disappeared when he was talking with me, and it was happening all the time for me in this game. It was so immersive breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
can I recommend 400 mods? Trades it right
I
out.
played with some mods, but not much.
I mean, Phantom Liberty at release was buggy. I remember that they had fixed all of them like main game so well. So you had like I had 60 FPS going everywhere. I was like, oh, this is great. Then I came into like Dogtown or whatever it's called, and it's like, it is. Stop looking at the lights.
Maybe it's because I've got a very low baseline for what constitutes a working video game, but I didn't have a problem with Cyberpunk. I did play Cyberpunk like a year after release, so I imagine like a lot of the bugs have been fixed. But I really enjoyed it, and I don't think that a few bugs like that necessarily ruin. I just find that more funny than anything else. You know, I find someone which doesn't have, you know, their skin texture hasn't loaded in, so you've just got these weird eyeballs and teeth and stuff, and you just kind of go, "Oh, that's hilarious! Look at this weirdo."
I don't think that the bugs at the base game are the biggest problem.
Yeah.
The problem for me was how bad the side content was in most cases.
Yeah.
Terrible balance. I'm not a fan of the main story in Phantom Liberty. I think for me it was way too unpredictable. Only the collab scene was amazing. But let me finish. The side content with Mr. Handy. How is that called?
Mr. Hands.
Handy?
Mr. Handy.
Mr. Hands, sorry. In Polish it's like handy.
That's right.
Called
Mr. Handsy over there.
Mr. Hands. Okay?
Yeah, go see Mr. Handy. He'll sort you right out.
So all his contract and so on were amazing.
Yeah.
For me, like and the atmosphere of this Dogtown was way better than the base game.
Yeah.
That's how the whole game should look.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's easier to make this like smaller area really cool than like the entirety of Night City as well. So
they went too big.
One of those things.
Night City was just too big.
I like Night City. It is a shame that the most detailed and exciting place to be is a complete shithole that you can't even really drive around. But like I quite like Night City as a place. Like I feel like each area is very distinct, and I could like just drop myself anywhere in it, and I'd probably know where I am without looking at the map fairly quick. But
did you watch the Edge Runners?
Yeah.
Anime? For me, Edge Runners made the game better.
Oh, absolutely.
Not opposite. Like I would score the game more after watching Edge Runners, not opposite.
Mainly because I was then like, well, I'm just doing the Sandevistan build this time when I'm playing, and that was so much fun.
Yes, and listening to the Take Me Home
Yeah,
for music.
I listen to the same radio station for 65 hours. Never get old.
Same.
First time I played Cyberpunk, like at release, I was like Sandavist and Katana. And then like when I played again for Phantom Liberty, I was like, you know what? Sandavist and Katana.
It's like the stealth archer of...
Yeah. If I can stealth, I always stealth in games. If it's good stealth.
Oh no, it's way more fun to just like do the classic samurai of like, come at me, Sand Everson, sprint round.
I really liked punching people to death. I still remember playing Cyberpunk, and there's that mission, the main mission where you have to like infiltrate a base or something, and you have this talk in like a concrete building overlooking it beforehand.
Oh yeah.
And then I botched the sneaking. Like I think that I was spotted by the second guy. And I was like, all right, fuck it then. So I just ran around punching people. And there was this point inside the warehouse where I was like running using this like super speed thing. And this guy slowly popped his head out from behind a crate. And I just went, and it just went pop. And I was one of the best experiences I've ever had playing video games.
The game had its moment for sure. But I think with the next game, they should get back to the things that made Witcher 3 great. Absolutely. And not Cyberpunk.
Yeah, the story, I mean, you know, everyone has entitled to their opinion. You're allowed to be wrong. Yeah, Phantom Liberty had more moments. I was like, wow, I'm engrossed right now. I want to do the next story mission. Whereas in the base game, I'm just like, attack America and wait by the parade. You know, and then nothing's going to happen there.
I never
like
finished.
Always had problems with their main story. I mean, I don't think I've ever finished the main campaign in Skyrim because...
No. Why? I finished it several. Why everyone is saying that? I love the main story in Skyrim.
I think so. I've done the Bleak Falls Barrow, and then I'm like, I just want to go and do my own thing. I'm so sick of this Bleak Falls Barrow bullshit.
I almost lost the university because of Skyrim. I played it so much.
I was Quantic. I was a stream. I only streamed like Skyrim for like 1.5 years. So I've done all of those things so many times. It's crazy.
Everyone's so good.
Anyway, I did play some other games other than Cyberpunk.
Yeah. What other games you played?
I played a game called Unsighted, which is really cool. It's like it's hard to explain really. It's kind of like a pixel style fighting 3D thing, but then there's this really cool mechanic where every NPC you meet has a limited number of hours left to live, and you can find collectibles around the world and you can gift it to them to extend their lives. And it is like fairly easy to complete the main game without losing anyone, but it was just like a really interesting thing that you could apply to a lot of things. Like you can only give so much time to each thing and keep them all alive before you have to let some of them go. And it's a good game for that. And then I played Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2. And Half-Life 1 is a game, and Half-Life 2 is very, very, very good. Shocking. To no one's surprise.
RTX, you played the new version of RTX, Half-Life 2?
I just played the Steam version. No, I didn't play the RTX one. I just played the normal Steam version, the OGs.
Yeah. It just came out, the RTX version.
I think it's only a demo for Half-Life 2. I'm not sure about 1.
Yeah.
And all of these games you played only yesterday, yes?
This is from the start of March. So yeah, this month I've had a pretty good month because I went on a holiday, so I played a lot of them. I played the entirety of Unsighted in like 3 days on my Steam Deck.
I'm jealous for having so much time for games.
Can't wait for Half-Life 3 though.
One day. I remember seeing like a video about like how games used to be, how we used to play them, and how we play them now. And it was like Half-Life 1, and you could see somebody having like one of those trip mines, like the red beam, and them were standing with the keyboard mouse like this, backing up, and then just like slamming right into the mine, exploding and dying.
And then pretty hard.
And then you're like, and then how people play it now, and they just like run on the wall, flip, shoot somebody in the head.
Yeah, that game is very much not to be played like a modern game because you just lose health so fast. I got to the helicopter part on the cliff, and I was like, this is just fucking pissing me off. I'm just constantly getting shot by a goddamn helicopter. But yeah, Half-Life 2 is a fantastic game. Obviously, it holds up pretty well. It's really funny as well, which I very much enjoyed. But yeah, that's me. And I played Auction Not Included for a bit, but there's not really much to say about that. It's just fun. Who's next?
Monsters?
I was going to say, Venris, have you played anything? Or
Yeah, I always try to play something. There was no Total War update, so I didn't need to crunch. I finished Avowed last month. I really like it. It's a very simple RPG game with a simple premise. It's not Skyrim or anything, but I
Which
really
game
like
did you
it.
say?
Sorry,
Which game did you say?
Avowed.
Oh yeah, Avowed. Yeah.
Yeah, Avowed. I liked it. Previous month, like 2 months ago, I played Dragon Age Veilguard, but I don't want to talk about it. Really don't.
Yeah, I gave up on that game.
You just like play
I played-
exclusively controversial RPGs.
Yes, I played Dragon Age because I like Dragon Age series and I had it on this EA Pass or something. I didn't need to pay for it, so it was fine. I got because my wife uses this Game Pass for Sims thing. She likes to play Sims. But to the better games, I played Cataclysmo, recently because
Very
there is
good game.
1.0 update. I got it from Hooded Horse and it's a very good game. I'm planning to make a video about it. It's like a very good defense game because there was like a lot of defense games recently that was really, I would say disappointed. Disappointed is a good word. Like the Age of Darkness Final Stand was released in the full recently also, and I think the game didn't change at all since they early access like 5 years ago. Then we had Diplomacy is not an option that bored me after 2 hours. I never get back to it. And the Cataclysmo is really, really good. Like something really new in the genre of survival, building castles and things like that.
Yeah.
Something new. And I'm also playing my guilty pleasure, the series that I love and cherish is Assassin's Creed Shadows recently.
Shadows
And
is
I'm playing it so much that on Saturday I went to bed like 3 a.m. and my kids got
Yes.
up at 6 a.m.
Yes.
and was dying for the whole day.
That's real gamer stuff right there.
But I really like Shadows. Really do. And I read every trivia about the Japanese culture, things like that. And
It's
just a good game, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, we're both map game enjoyers as well. So I've been,
Everyone needs a bit.
I
need a bit
treat them as a
Ubisoft.
cozy game.
Yeah.
Like the Assassin's Creed games are like Stardew Valley for other people for me. I played Stardew Valley, but I got crazy because I wanted to max everything there. And it was not cozy game for me, but like Assassin's Creed games are cozy game for me because I go and I clean them up for an hour or two if I'm not doing the main quest or something like that, and it's fine and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, same. I just like, ooh, shiny. Ooh, shiny. I just keep on going. And then it just takes an entire day. And it's like, oh, yeah, I've done anything in the story. Yes. It takes so goddamn long. I had that problem in Cyberpunk as well, where I would just be over leveled, max level at like halfway through the game because I did all the side contents. Then it's like, yeah, there's nothing more for me to get. So I could just do the story, but.
Fred, did you get to the moment that you unlock Yasuke?
No, I didn't. Yes.
Oh, okay. I got to the point of unlocking Yasuke as a second character, and I have to say that how his implemented is very good.
Yeah, I've just been
mechanically.
So I've just been ninjing around a ton and just being over level with stuff. You know, when the skill trees are just saying, "No, go through the story to unlock this." Basically, it was like, "I'm not going to." I'm gonna see if I can find legendary peasant clothes.
Yeah, so this is sadly all that I was playing recently.
Yeah, it's enjoying something, you know.
I have also been playing Cataclysmo, and I really like it.
Yeah,
although
that's cool.
I will say the story was a little bit because I love a story, so I was like, I'm going to play through the storyline. And I will say the story didn't make much sense at the end. I was really
there is a story. Let's call it that. There is a story.
there is. I was what I really took umbrage with was right, because I mean basically it's set in this world where there's like one city left and they've got these weird orbs, white orbs, which are apparently magic or something, and that's kind of what you have to defend. You have like a castle with this white orb, which apparently you can't touch because that's bad. So basically, I think it's an analogy to like a nuclear reactor. I think like they're bad, but they're also useful. So you don't want to touch it because that's bad, but it is handy.
Is it explained in the story? Because I didn't finish it just yet. I just started.
No. This is what annoyed the shit out of me. Was basically right at the start, you have this narrator guy going, "Oh, the Cataclysmo, but you know all about that, don't you?" And I went, No, because you haven't told me. I don't. What happens? Like,
There will be a pre-sequel, Cataclysmo pre-sequel.
Well, there better be, because it's like this world is full of mist, and the mist, I think, it shows people being turned into these monsters, and then the monsters are what attack the castle. That
Don't ask me. I don't know. I just started it.
No, because there's a cinematic at the start which shows someone like being turned into one of these monsters, right? So by definition, I suspect these monsters are probably people, which does beg the question then, why when you build a little house, which is, I mean, if you play like They Are Billions, this is fairly similar, where you have the population, so you need a number of population to then run the buildings, so you need to build the houses. And if you build one of the houses and look at it, they've got one of these creatures like hung up on like a butcher's hook, which suggests they're eating them. Which, when you then do the logical conclusion, suggests they're eating people.
It's people.
Okay.
So, I was really hoping at the end, like,
I need to check on this.
it is a bit concerning. But you basically play this character who's got one of these nuclear reactors like embedded in her chest for some reason, and it's never really explained why.
Iron Man.
Yeah, but so you're kind of like following this character as she's like following this old expedition that went into the deeps, where I presume some sort of civilization that was using these orbs was. And this is going to tell her why everything was happening. And in the end, it turns out that, and this is spoilers, so if you don't want to know the lore, it turns out that this lady that you're following was wished by the lady who ran the first like expedition. She went to one of the Alpha reactor and went, "Hey, could we have like a baby with an orb in it, please?" And it chucked out this baby with an orb in it, and then decided to teleport her to the last city, and that's who she is. And then when she goes back to the big orb and touches it again, everything's better.
Why we are spoiling the games here?
Well, because it doesn't really make any sense, and this makes me angry. It's the Mother Ostankya battle all over again, the final battle, and I feel like it should make sense, and it doesn't really explain anything, and that annoys the shit out of me. So.
I don't think I played Final Battle of Mother Ostankya ever.
Don't not
damn it!
No, we can't do this.
You activated Monsters trap card.
Games.
Damn it!
Monsters, what else have you been playing?
Anyway, so while Cataclysmo may not have a particularly good story, I do think it is a very fun game, and I really, really love building your defenses out of Lego. I think
same. I was gonna say, as somebody who has this midlife crisis as Legos, it's Cataclysmo is great.
So it's so good, and I love the fact it doesn't. It knows what it is. It's like, you want to make a nice wall, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So making a wall is really cheap, and having stone is really easy. So knock yourself out. Basically, just go and enjoy yourself. And that's what I love about it. Is it doesn't go, no, you can't build too much stone. That would be naughty. You're gonna have to wait. It's like, no, knock yourself out.
Yeah, this is a thing that I didn't like in Diplomacy. Is an option. It's not an option. It's like building a walls was problematic in this game. You need to build in the proper places. You cannot just make walls, and so on. And that's like. Similar thing was in the Age of Darkness. The walls are too expensive in those games. Like there are billions made the whole structure of defending against waves of enemies so good that is the Cataclysmo is the first game in years that I'm playing that actually does something different and make it interesting.
Yeah, that's what I love about that game. So that was really good. Really enjoyed that. And I've also been playing Distant Worlds 2, which is a game that is janky as hell, but I still love it.
That is such a weird game, because you can, like, at some points just go like, you know what, game? You handle you, and I'm just gonna see what I can find. And there's gonna be like, aye, Captain, infrastructure. Because
it's really so. Where the problem with this game is that you need to unless you want to go insane, you do need to rely on the automation. Unfortunately, the automation tends to be quite possessive over what it wants to. So, for example, if you go to a planet and you're like, no, I want all of these troops to stay on this planet, right? This is an under threat planet. I need to keep all these guys here. So you go, no, you stay there. and then you turn your back for a second, and the game goes, "The fuck you do? All of those guys, let's ship them off somewhere else." Just as like an enemy invasion fleet is, I've literally had it where my invasion fleet has come along, grabbed all these troops off the planet, left it completely defenseless as an enemy invasion fleet is arriving, and then they've gone like, "Yay, we're off!" And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, "Why is that planet complete? Where did everyone go?" So yeah, it's a bit janky, but I just love watching all the little freighters like flying between, like delivering goods between the planets and stuff. And they've released a new update which updates 2 of the factions in the base game. So it's the Xenox and the Boscara now have like mechanics actually attributed to them. So they're quite good. And there's also a DLC coming out in like a week, I think, with 2 new races. The Atuk, who are basically Ewoks with spaceships, who want to cuddle everyone.
Ewoks.
They're literally like the little cute. Imagine Furbies with battleships. That's basically what you're going with. They're effectively idiots, but they kind of just want to love everyone and hug.
Like a furries or space dogs from 40k.
Yeah, basically.
They'll believe it, and it happens.
Yeah, literally, they're like, let's go to space, guys. I bet everyone there's going to be friendly. Turns out, not so much. And the Wekarus, who are basically Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants.
You're playing interesting games.
And Distant Worlds 2 is a game that I think it hates the player a lot, but it's an abusive relationship, but I still want to be in it.
Like Darkest Dungeon. The game that I really love as an idea, but I cannot play it. I always hate myself after playing it. It's like, no, not today. Sorry, but no.
Exactly. Okay, Fred, now list us off everything you've played.
I haven't played too much because I was actually stuck on Star Sector for a very long time. And Star Sector is such a good game. Like, 100% just check it out. It costs like $20 and you have to buy it from a website that is like, it looks like it was made in '98 by somebody who just did web design. But like the game is just fantastic. It's like Bannerlord in space where you just have like these spaceships. You like get one spaceship. You can change that, pilot whatever you want.
Is this
they just make it a little flotilla.
Game?
Yeah.
What's this website?
Yeah. It's just incredibly good. First time I was just like smuggling constantly, just making a lot of money smuggling. Now I've been just trying to discover things and things like that. And then it's basically in the far future. AI went completely rampant and is completely banned. In my second playthrough, I had 2 new colonies that were churning out metals and weapons and refineries, stuff like that, all powered by the most dangerous kind of AI, which makes a lot of people very angry because you can have like a small AI that is illegal, they'll hate you. You can have the better one, which is just a war crime. Or you can have the alpha one that I had, which is just something that's they're gonna exterminate your planet unless you can defend this. And there's like the small fast ships. You can have like these giant carriers or giant battleships and stuff like that. And it's just really cool once you manage to get like a mid fleet the first time. You just go up against like a giant battleship and just like and it just like annihilates everything in front of it. It's just so goddamn cool. It's a great game. You can I made so much money just from smuggling organs on the black markets. Or like,
of course you did.
I feel like you do this in every game somehow.
Wait,
yeah, I mean, like it is a worrying trend. Or just like smuggling drugs from the pirates to the jihadists, basically, is like space jihadists. It's just really, really fun. The space jihadists is like they're like
okay.
AI is bad, all technology is bad. We only use technology to annihilate other technology. So they work in very angry ways, basically, but they're also like mining colonies, so they really crave drugs. So it's very lucrative to smuggle drugs onto their worlds.
Jesus.
Lucrative, maybe, but ethically, I imagine you're on thin ice there.
I mean, they literally like make their spaceships without shields, as they can ram and explode into you. Like they're not really good.
I was thinking that I'm making a game about evil guy, but I see that Fred is just better at it.
I mean, it's not particularly about an evil guy. It's just like the guy who plays it. So it all depends. You can also do space piracy and just like, try to take caravans or try to just, colonize different places. You don't have to be evil, I guess. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of leans into that naturally. I don't know how to explain this.
So Star Sector is a game that I own and I have tried to play a couple of times. But the problem is the tutorial's good, but then it kind of gets you to a point and then goes, all right, off you go. And at that point, I'm like, I don't know what to do now. Like, what?
Just go and talk to the academy and follow that quest line.
Right. I'm going to try and
start selling organs. That will work.
Or explore. That's all you need to do. Explore while your feet is small.
Have you heard about our fantastic organ run?
Yeah, sometimes you're just gonna find like when you're exploring, you find like this old habitat that everyone's just cryogenically frozen in. So you're like, well, are they alive? And they're like, well, kinda. And you're like, well, I guess it's organ harvest time.
No.
And you usually get like 200-300 organs, something like that, in a big run, and then you'll have like 1,500 of them, and you're like, wow, there's a lot of organs you have here.
So if you sell a lot, your leadership aura size will increase with
so anyway, yeah, good game, honestly. I've been enjoying that one a ton. Together with Assassin's Creed Shadows as well. Like, not as far as you are. I just like run around and just like, ooh, shiny, and murder everybody. It's like, oh, that's a good fort. And then he just try to just murder everybody.
The stealth is very good at this.
The stealth is really good, yeah, especially with the ninja
way
girl. Yeah.
Better stealth than I expected. I would say it's the best casual stealth in games. Like the casual one, and not that hardcore one. Like
I mean, KCD2 has some insane stealth. Actually, has like really, really good stealth to the point where
it's not casual, if you know what I mean.
I guess you're right. I mean, KCD2. Somebody told me they had murdered a dude outside of the bandit camp, and then they hid his body, took his armor, put the armor on, and just walked into the camp with a torch. And somebody was like, hey, who goes there? Oh, it's just you. And just let him go around as long as he didn't like go close enough to them. I thought that was mind blowing.
I think this is fantastic, but like I tried playing KCD1 game and I really dropped from it. I think that there's an amount of realism that doesn't give me fun in the games.
So KCD1, you start as a peasant boy that knows nothing and everything is tough and everything will kill you and life is difficult. In KCD2, you're like a wounded space marine that starts off. And then if you go and complete maps, you're going to be like basically a space marine. It's very different. Definitely check out the second one. Otherwise, if you thought it was like too much for the first one, because the first one can be very, very punishing.
Yeah, but I think it's more about maybe not punishing, but like the whole idea of the game, Yeah. I'm not having fun when I have the animation of, mixing ingredients in a bowl.
Yeah, alchemy is
like that are like,
it's awful always, yeah.
I don't know. I like when things are a bit automated.
Yeah, so the alchemy is basically, you should have a second monitor, just have like the quick recipes, because all the recipes you can kind of like in-game hack in these games. So you can just like skip a couple of steps, you can just do them faster. If you do them like the optimal way, you'll do them just twice as fast, basically.
But do you think that if the game requires your second monitor, guide, open, or things like that, is a good idea for the game? I hate things games when I need to open a guide or a walkthrough.
I mean, Star Sector I really like because it reminds me of the old game Freelancer. Because then I used to have like a notebook on where to sell cargo, where to buy it, and you just try to trade and stuff like that. And it was just really fun.
That's fine, but when this is like a in-game knowledge that you're just not able to remember all the time. So you have a notebook. But to explain something in the game that you need to Wikipedia or something like that, that annoys me a lot.
Yeah,
that's why I never played Darkest Dungeon games for a long time, because you need to have a fucking Wikipedia open all the time to understand this game.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Like alchemy in those games are horrific. I hate those, but you don't have to do them that much. So it is what it is, I guess. But also I played Split Fiction for a day. And Split Fiction is probably one of the best games I ever played, but you do need a friend for it.
Ooh,
Did anyone play? There's also local co-op if you have two controllers, so like a controller and mouse and keyboard for one PC. You can also play with somebody.
That reminded me, we started with Wife, the It Takes Two.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
We played like 4 hours and we are having fun, but our kids are having even more fun watching us playing.
Oh, but that game really reminded me of Star Wars, Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker saga. So there's like this Lego game that is just a Lego game, but it's also an amazing game. Like it's just, there's so many small elements, so many small mini games. It's a well-crafted game. It just happens to be Lego. But it kind of reminds me of that because Split Fiction is also like so many small games. It never gets repetitive, and all of them are, if you really go into it, none of the mechanics are super deep, but you only use them for so long that they're just fun for when you use this. So we like it. Also, it's like a Swedish dude that made the studio, and he did like a lot of cult classic Swedish movies that I grew up with. So yeah, I haven't played much else than that, I think, actually.
Oh my God, that's
Star Sector
a short list for you.
Yeah, Star Sector has taken so much time. You have no idea. It's just so much fun just doing the trade routes and murdering people and trying to fight wars because, you know what? Profit is more important than like intergalactic crimes of using AI, because profit go when you use
anyone played
AI.
Anyone played Total War?
No.
I've actually played Total War as well, yeah.
Like I play Total War almost every day.
Yeah.
I tried not to. I get too much of it, being honest. When I drop the updates for SFO, I don't play Total War after it for a month or two even. I come back for the updates.
Yeah, have it.
Yes. When you work on it and play it, it's just too much.
What am I going to do after this? Play Kislev for the next video. Nah.
Yeah, I'm going to play Kislev as soon as this
I know what I was also playing and I totally forgot. I'm playing for quite some long time right now. Warcraft 3 with my son, with my 6-year-old son, and he loves it. We are right now in the Undead campaign in Frozen Throne, and he really likes it.
Is he like controlling it, or are you?
No,
he's just playing
watching.
with
He's just watching it. Go there, build this. You're missing a farm. Make a ziggurat. Make more plague. Dad, you need to cut those trees.
Yeah, I'm trying to find games for my 5-year-old to like learn how to use a mouse on a screen. So we got Minecraft, and I had never played Minecraft. Like, I've never played it, so I bought it just so that she can like learn how to use a mouse because all the other kids are apparently playing Minecraft.
Yeah, we have the same. We don't have a Minecraft, but every kid in the kindergarten are playing it because our son is playing on console most of the time, on Switch or on PlayStation. So he's better with a pad controller, and he's not that good in mouse games, let's say. And he's playing all the Lego games because they were free on Epic. So he's playing all of them also.
Nice. The Lego games are fantastic as well. There's good humor as well in them.
Never played any of them.
Dude, try the Skywalker Saga. That's literally a good game. Like it's
my relationship with Star Wars ended on the last 3 movies. I don't want to get back to it. I watched The Mandalore only and the Andor series, and it was fine. It's nothing else for me.
That's fair. It's that's better saying than people like, no, I love Star Wars. This is my favorite franchise. I hate all of the movies except for these 3. Like,
does anyone attend?
I started to appreciate the prequels after the new one.
We're going to see Revenge of the Sith in the cinema re-release. That is a hilarious film. It's like melodramatic as shit, but it's so funny. That film, the whole way through, I'm just laughing.
Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, hands down. I think it's fantastic.
And I don't think it's hilarious, and I like it.
It's hysterical, like the performances. It's just
yeah, but the performances are made like they were told to act worse because they act worse in the older ones. But they cut a lot of like weird dialogue from it. Like in episode 2, is this when they say shit like, "I don't like sand," because like that's supposed to be about Anakin's telling Padme that he grew up a slave. He wasn't like in these pleasure palaces. He wasn't like in a good place. Everything was just shit for him. So but instead they cut it because George Lucas is shit at dialogues. So he just goes like, I don't like sand. It's like, all right, Annie, do you want a glass of lemon juice, maybe?
No apple. It was a scene with the apple using the Force.
Yeah.
I just love there's so many line deliveries in Revenge of the Sith. I think my favorite might be right at the end where Obi-Wan stood behind and was like, your new empire? It's just like got such a tone of, you what, Anakin? Your new empire?
I really like that line dialogue.
I think that was good. The Obi-Wan versus Anakin was very good.
Oh yeah, the scene is awesome. The battle is the best lightsaber duel in the series.
I mean, I love the one also where it's like, you were like a brother to me. And it's just like, it feels really heartfelt. I really like it.
Ivan McGregor was actually playing in this movie.
Yeah.
The rest were trying. He was actual actor in it.
Yeah. But like I said, they were told to be like more stiff and weird in this. So.
Really?
Yeah, they were.
He wanted it to like Shakespearean, didn't he? And it was...
Kind of, but it was also the old performances were very stunted and weird, so he wanted to be like fit into it because he's pretty good at like follow through and stuff like that. That's why everybody still has like 70s and 80s hairdos as well, constantly throughout all Star Wars.
I love the retro tech of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it called? Cassette punk or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I'm happy that they are doing similar thing, but now with the Alien movies, they are getting back to this retro futurism.
Yeah.
The Romulus, I think, was the name of the recent.
Yeah, I heard really good things about it.
It was very good.
But my partner is
it's on Disney Plus right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped watching Alien at Prometheus. I got so angry, I almost walked out of the theater.
This is a good movie, trust me. It's actually a theme of the old movies.
Yeah, Romulus, I've heard really good stuff about. I just couldn't stand that. Like, oh yeah, we have like the most smartest scientists on the planet. It's like best of all. It's just like Space Cobra. Look at this. Watch, I'm gonna pet it. It's just,
yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm the best archaeologist. Stomp. Wait, where am I? I'm lost. And it's just like crazy stuff. But in the end, it's such a cool thing they're trying to show, where it's like man goes up against God and says, I have reached your limits. Please make me mortal. And like you get to talk and meet God basically, and God smashes you down straight away, like for daring to speak to him or waking him up. And
that was so junky.
But it's like such a cool concept in the end. But like the entire movie is just so goddamn bad. I don't know how they can even write anything.
And then you have the second movie when you have two Fassbenders playing on their flutes. It's like...
Can never have too much Fassbender.
Yeah, no. Romulus is actually very similar to the first and the second movie.
Yeah,
like
I've heard it's like back to basics and a lot of cool fan service basically for us.
One more thing before I wrap up. I watched Shogun recently when I was away. That is on Disney Plus.
The series?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's really cool.
That is on my list to watch that and Severance.
So
Please no
good.
spoilers.
Yeah, yes. It's actually very well showing the culture of the Japanese.
It's gripping.
At the time.
We put on 2 episodes on the day we got to Lake District where I went. And we were like, we're kind of tired. We don't know if we're going to get engrossed. And we were like, sat there at 11 p.m. considering putting another one on rather than going to bed. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Funny thing about this show is that it's very hard to spoil it.
Yeah.
Because it's so complex.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
But it's very good. Oh, yes. I love the fact that everyone is using their languages in this. They didn't want to Hollywood it, so everyone's speaking English. No, everyone is speaking Japanese in it.
In fact, this is not really a spoiler. The English is actually Portuguese, but it's shown.
Yeah, okay, this is one thing. Yeah, but it's so rare in it.
Yeah, it'd be so weird if it was. Well, it wouldn't be weird. It'd just be very unapproachable to a lot of people if there was no English. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Still a great series.
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
I need to watch that. It's something on my watch list.
Yeah. Otherwise, for like the nerdy dudes, Invincible just ended.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I read the comic books like a long time ago, and I've been enjoying it a ton.
I will be controversial here. I think the first season was one of the worst series I saw in my life. It was so bad.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. So, well, that one, but I really like him as well. I'm a huge comic book nerd, as you can see from my painting here. I've had that one, I think, way before the first Deadpool movie, even. I just, really, I read Invisible a long time ago, and I think it's a neat little show. There's some of the changes in season 1 from the comic books were super weird, but season 2 wrapped up, and it was good. I enjoyed it. And then solo leveling also.
So
is
much
going on.
no.
All right, well, we disagree.
I enjoyed the first season. I haven't watched any of the other seasons yet, mostly because I just haven't had the time. But it is on my watch list.
First one was good. First one was really good, but then it went down a slope so much for me.
You liked the first season, but then
I think the first season was very good, but like yes, Invincible, and then the second, like the concept of those superheroes being like a job, just went too much for me, and become campy and silly bad. Like villain of the week every episode, and no one dies in this show. Actually, no one.
Are we watching the same thing?
No one died
all the goddamn time
without any spoilers.
It's like the first episode.
No, okay. In first season, yes, the people dying there, but like in the first season, only one character dies. Whole
first season?
No, first season, the last one.
Last season,
only one character died. Actually, which is hilariously bad for what is happening.
Wait,
to
is
the
it
characters
third season or second season that just aired?
Third season.
Third season. Oh yeah, no. But even in the comic books, you have like different stuff that's happening all the time.
Yes, but don't you feel it's like so gimmicky that no one dies? Everyone has a plot armor. You can have your brain just combined with the floor, and you still survive in it.
It's like this. Keep on watching because people definitely die. I read the comics, and it's a lot of them. Yeah, you can just watch like the seasons that are out because there is a pacing. It's not like Game of Thrones where somebody has to die all the time, but people definitely like die. But then some people do have. I mean, plot armor is always like it's a written narrative, right? So some people will eventually have like you can call anyone surviving plot armor in the end. But definitely just keep on watching it and see if you still feel like that after.
Being honest, I decided I won't be watching it because I didn't enjoy the first season.
Okay, yeah.
And also the fact that animation quality really drops down from season to season. It's only the last episode. I think the last episode was the best on the first season. It was really.
Watched all the third season as well?
Sorry?
You watched the third season as well?
Yes.
You can definitely.
I think with the Conquest was the best. Yeah, with the Conquest was the best. But the whole season totally forgettable, and the animation is really bad in this.
Yeah,
I'm watching a lot of things like Castlevania, Attack on Titan, and other very good animations. This one is really bad.
Yeah, I mean the animation definitely. I agree with you. You can definitely tell it's like Black Clover. I don't know if anyone's watched that out there, but they basically have no budgets, and then like every once in a while they just like. Here's the budget, and then just goes with that. And it's just like one of those animation things when you watch animation. That's most of the time they just save animation like that. Like even all the Neon Genesis Evangelion would just have like
the first season had way better animation.
Sometimes the animation in that one was never top tier, honestly. Like there are much better.
Like Bluey has a better animation than Invincible.
Okay, Bluey's so Bluey has really weirdly good animation though. Yes. Like weirdly good. Like the iPad episode is like hilariously good just from animation and the aspects.
It's a great show, by the way. It's the best show I've seen in years.
I mean, we have to watch with our kids. Well, I have to anyway. But
but if you're a parent, you really understand it way better.
Yeah,
like you see, especially that is like the kids wants to have fun about some very. Hard play, let's say something like that, and that is like okay, let's go.
Ambushes you. It's all like, oh, this is a fun cartoon about dogs, and then it's like, oh, now Bluey's grown up and she's camping, and her best friend that she's been missing for years comes back. You're like, oh my god, I just took a direct hit.
This episode with this French dog.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was so
And then
good.
she's like sitting there reading a book at the end, all grown up, and then you hit Bluey, and you're like, oh my god.
You know what show had it also when I was a kid? No, was not a kid anymore. There, Phineas and Ferb was also a similar show that had same vibes for me.
Never watched that one.
It was also on Disney Plus. It is on Disney Plus.
Right,
but
that's nearly 3 hours, and we've been talking about Bluey and Invincible for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, you don't realize we're gonna have to edit all this.
Yeah. All right.
What about the Ostanka battle?
No.
No.
Like so.
Thanks going on.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Super thanks to Venris for hanging out and tolerating us for this long.
Thank you for
we'll see if Damneders can edit down these. I think we're up at like 5.5 hours. So hopefully we can edit this down to like something plausible, because there's been so many tangents.
Usable stuff.
There always is.
Yeah, I mean, like going on that tangent about like tires. That was so weird, but like we just need to get it out of our system. Anyway, everyone should go check out SFO Grimhammer. It's a wonderful way to re-experience the game. It's not like a super humongous overhaul, but it is different, and a lot of the factions are better, or at least different enough so you will experience more fun. Also check out Whisper the Eyeless in early access right now. It's a very, very cool game, like we talked about. And there's now easy difficulty for people like me, I guess. But that's it for me, NerdFed, my wonderful co-host and owner of the channel, Colonel Damneders, Monster Bounds, and special guest, Venris of Shark Boy fame.
Bye.
Bye.